We have injury updates, ladies and gentlemen. Christian Watson is out. Kenneth Walker looks like he's good to go. There was a little bit of scare on Darren Waller earlier in the day where he popped up questionable with the hamstring. I thought it was like, here we go again, Darren Waller. Maybe we do not have Waller good to go, but no, Darren Waller will be playing on Sunday. That has been cleared up. So really the only main thing that you're going to have to be worried about at this point is what we are going to be doing with those Christian Watson teams, because Terry McLaurin will be playing in Washington as well. Now, does that mean we should go ahead and jam Terry McLaurin into our starting lineup? Probably not. Probably still want to be a little bit hesitant just given the nature of the turf toe, and we really don't know what his role is going to be week one. I would still rank Jahan Dotson ahead of Terry McLaurin for this week, but Dotson will be less appealing in your fantasy football starting lineup. So I think that should be about it. I'm sure maybe we're missing a few more injury updates that we can give later on in this live stream. But y'all know we've been going through and teasing the Flock hat giveaway. Been saying that we were going to get it for y'all for a couple days now. I've spent literally the past 8 hours going through and boxing up hundreds of Flock hats, hundreds of Flock shirts, and you better believe we're going to try to give away as many of these as we possibly can. Hopefully we have enough going out there and asking for them. So here's how you get your Flock Fantasy hat giveaway, of course. One, like we already said, you need to have used promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. Now, it's not too late to do that. You can still find the link in the live chat, still find it in the description section. Underdog Fantasy has all these pick'ems, and also with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, and on top of that, with promo code FLOCK, you're going to be getting the Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard for Monday night's game against the Jets, and you'll get an additional mystery special pick'em on top of it. This is the first week I've ever seen Underdog have two special pick'ems the same week. So once you've done that, go over to the flockfantasy.com Discord. Then make sure you fill out the Google form and let me know if you want a Flock hat, a Flock shirt. You're not getting both. I am sorry, but let me know which one you want and I'd be happy to get that for you. But I think that should be it. We're going to have hundreds of those to give away, ladies and gentlemen. But let's start answering some questions here. JJ coming out saying, I have JSN in a lot of leagues, so I'm shopping him around, but should I flex Zay over JSN with this cast on? Also, who wins JSN for a Pickens trade? I'm going to go JSN long-term over George Pickens. And honestly, between JSN and Zay Flowers, I'll still be starting JSN. The man's 100% good to go this weekend. And I don't know. I just think he's so much of a better player. I think there's more passing volume to go around as well. Unless Andrews somehow misses. If Andrews somehow misses, then at that point, you will go ahead and you will pivot over to Zay Flowers. Now, Marco's coming out and says, ugly teams, 12-team happy BR. We have Lawrence at quarterback. We have Ramondre Miles Sanders at RB. We have Chase, Olave, Schultz, the flex Brian Robinson, bench Brandon Ayuk, Addison, Dobbs, Charbonnet, Devon Achane. Any tips? I think long-term, this is a pretty solid team. The only thing is we need to wait for one of those rookies to break out at the bottom end of the bench. Looks like maybe we are going to be lacking a little bit of depth right at this second. But once we have one of those rookies breaking out, what we can do is we can then try to take Brandon Ayuk, package him with Dalton Schultz to go get a long-term upgrade at the tight end position, but keep the starting lineup as is for now. Mike says Christian Watson or Kamara in a non-PPR format. I would probably keep Christian Watson. Like with Kamara, you're going to be missing time, but in a non-PPR format, I don't know if we're excited about him, right? You're excited about Kamara given his role as a receiver. Dime's coming out saying 10-team double flex league. Quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts. Running back, we have Najee and Jamal Williams. We have Devonta Smith, Amari Cooper, Godwin, Lockett, Kelsey, Pacheco's, Flowers, Cousins, Collins. We want to trade. The first thing is, my man, there's no reason for us to go out of our way and, worry about having a backup quarterback here when we're sitting with Jalen Hurts. If you have Jalen Hurts, I'm completely fine if we wanted to go through cut Kirk Cousins, especially in a 10-team league where there should be more waiver wire options at the quarterback position. Now, with that being said, if we could somehow package together Kirk Cousins and Tyler Lockett, Kirk Cousins and Chris Godwin to get a long-term quarterback upgrade, that would be phenomenal. But I really would want to be using that roster spot for a running back because I think we're great in the short term. But once Kamara comes back, once Condre Miller is fully healthy, then at that point, I may be a little bit concerned about what you have with the Jamal Williams role there as RB2. Michael says, after the injury, I'm playing Jamal in my first flex. My man, I probably would have played Jamal over Christian Watson anyway. Do I play Pirine, Zay, Mingo, or Elijah Moore in the second flex? Okay, now this is gross. I probably go Zay Flowers. I think you can make an argument for Samaje Perine. The reason I'm not going to be playing Perine is based off the report that we had with Sean Payton coming out and saying that, yeah, he's good to go. Samaje Perine Javonte Williams should see a full workload, and I don't know. It's going to be a very bad offense, so we really want to take advantage of Perine. Nick says, my man Mason signed up to Underdog a few years back with a different code, but still a paid member of FlogFantasy.com. Need to get my hands on some merch. I am very sorry, my man. The merch is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. As we go through, actually, you want a tournament on Underdog, I'll hook you up, my man. But for everybody else, I'm very sorry. So how it works whenever we're giving away this free merch is essentially you'll fill out that Google form. You'll give me like the email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. I'll go through and I'll double check that that's on my list of emails of people who signed up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK. And if it's there, you're confirmed, free merch. So Nick, you got to send me a separate message, my man. I know you want a tournament on Underdog. So yeah, I'll definitely get you hooked up. But yeah, just for anybody else wondering how it works, that's how it works on my end when I'm shipping all these out. Dave says, hey Mason, PBR, one flex, Mike Williams, Kirk, or Terry McLaurin. You have to go with Mike Williams. Beautiful matchup with Williams. Should be a super high scoring game environment against the Dolphins. Go Bill says, still start Walker over Godwin in a PBR format. Yeah, I mean, if we look at Kenneth Walker, this is a running back that is now in the clear, now good to go. I mean, I think that if you look at the matchup and how many points the Seattle Seahawks should score against the Los Angeles Rams, the fact that I don't really see the Rams having a shot in this game with no Cooper Kupp. I think similar to how we were saying David Montgomery got the bump yesterday with no Kelsey, given the game environment favoring the Detroit Lions to run the ball in the second half, it may end up being a similar situation to what we have with Kenneth Walker here in Seattle. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Austin says, would you do a trade getting Devonta Smith and DeAndre Swift for Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson? Team would look like Watson, Barkley, Akers, Swift, Olave, Diggs, Smith, and Waller. So in general, I would rather have DeAndre Swift over Antonio Gibson. I would probably say Smith, Ramondre are in a similar tier, and it's going to come down to your team and your overall league settings. And for that reason, let's go ahead and let's get Devonta Smith and DeAndre Swift, unless you really need a running back there with Ramondre. Jack says, start to Dion, Hall, Devon Achane, Bigsby, Charbonnet, or Rashad Penny in a full PPR format. We're going to have to go Deion Jackson and Breece Hall here, my man. I mean, I really don't want to start Dion because I feel like the role's so uncertain in what we have this week. I'd way rather see the role and then go out there and decide to start him the week after he breaks out, right? Similar to what we're saying with the rookie wide receiver, similar to what we're saying with the rookie tight ends. Sorry, I haven't texted my girlfriend. But you may not have an option because there's no way in hell we're going to go through and start Devon Achane, Tank Bigsby, Zach Charbonnet. I'm not starting one of these backup rookie running backs until we see them break out either. So we're going to go Dion because at least he has a shot to be the starter. And we will go Breece Hall because at least he has a shot to be the starter as well, right? Those rookie running backs have no shot. SSG Yeti for the third time now coming out saying, I'll say it again, in Jahmyr Gibbs, we trust. Cooper says, start one PBR, Bateman, Osborne, or JSN. I'm going to go ahead. I will take Jackson Smith and Jigba. I understand we don't want to be starting rookie wide receivers until we see the breakout, but hell, JSN was an elite level prospect. And what are we really rooting for with Bateman and KJ Osborne here? Like, what's the realistic ceiling? Steve says, we have Lamar, Bijan, Breece, Lamb, Amari, Frymuth, Kirk, Deontay, Judy, Quentin Johnston, Dobbs, Kareem Hunt, Tyler Boyd. Any moves to make? This is a phenomenal team. Well-balanced top to bottom. If it's a league with only one flex, I would love to go through and I would love to see if we can package together, say, Deontay Johnson and Pat Frymuth, or Christian Kirk and Pat Frymuth to get to an elite level tight end, whether that's going to be Mark Andrews or whether that's going to be TJ Hawkinson, but for preferably Mark Andrews to stack with Lamar Jackson here, my friend. Big route coming out says, what's up, Mason? Mike Evans or James Conner in a full PPR format. We're going to go with Mike Evans. I really want to be avoiding the Arizona Cardinals if we can. Shregan Fiona says, should I drop Michael Thomas and pick up Jamison Williams? Nope, definitely keep Michael Thomas. The thing is, at least with Michael Thomas, we're going to get some clarity on what the situation's going to be at the beginning of the season. Whereas if you're going to be looking at Jamison Williams, I mean, we just have no idea. He's going to make life hard for us when we go through to look to make waiver wire moves. I'd way rather have someone like Thomas here. Just Sherman coming out says, Deion Jackson, Jaden Reed, Odell, Elijah Mitchell, Zach Charbonnet, and Rashid. We got to pick one. We are going to go ahead. We will play Deion Jackson. I know a lot of people are going to go through and a lot of people are going to go straight for Jaden Reed saying, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, you have no Watson, Dobbs banged up. No, I think you have to take Deion here with Jaden Reed. The talent profile is questionable. He's not a JSN level prospect. We don't really know what to expect with the passing offense. I can't start Reed this week. I think it's almost similar situation to what we said last night with KC. I think that we're going to have to go through and almost just avoid all Green Bay Packers wide receivers. It's not like the running back position. You actually have to have that talent to produce. Kindrel says trade Higgins and Kirk for Kirk and Akers. No, I really don't want to be trading for Cam Akers right now. With Akers, this Rams offense just looks so bad with no Cooper Kupp. I'm staying away if we can. Mark says, with Watson out, I'm stuck on who to start by flex. We have Najee, Addison, Lockett, or Mostert. Who should we be going through and putting in? Not going to be starting Addison in comparison to these other names. I really think that you're going to be looking at the other three guys. Lockett gets a bump, considering the fact that if it's a full BBR format, he has the guaranteed target volume. If you would have asked me earlier in the week when it looked like Jackson Smith and Jigba wasn't going to play, I probably would have said Tyler Lockett. But now I think we pivot over to a running back at this point. I'll still probably go Najee Harris, but full transparency, Raheem Mostert actually has a higher pick'em line on Underdog right now than Najee. Mostert is in a much better matchup. I just have a hard time getting behind a 31-year-old running back with one career game with 20 or more carries. Now, Driz coming out says, hey, Flock, at running back 2, should we go James Cook or Javonte Williams? Thanks. No, Javonte is actually a lot more appealing than we initially gave him credit for earlier in the week, based off the report with Sean Payton coming out saying, he's the dude, he's good to go, yada, yada, yada. But in reality, I'm still going to go with James Cook. I mean, with Javonte Williams, I definitely think we're going to go through and start him over guys like Deion Jackson. But with Cook, I mean, we are pretty much certain that he will be the starting running back in Buffalo in a very high-scoring offense this next week. Fomon says, how concerned should I be with Kupp and Breece Hall? I think they both fit in very similar buckets, right? These are both players that we really can't rely upon at the beginning portion of the season, but you still want to rank them high in fantasy football given the long-term upside that they each individually possess. So I think it almost depends in your league and your overall league settings and roster construction. If you're in a 12-team format with multiple flex spots, where you're telling me, Mason, right now, at my second flex spot, I have Jaden Reed, I don't have anybody to start, what am I supposed to do? At that point, you may look to go ahead and you may look to sell Cooper Kupp just to get some guaranteed production in the short term. Whereas if you're in like a 10-team league with only one flex spot where you're chilling, I mean, your flex right now is Mike Evans, and you're really just shooting for the long-term upside, then in that kind of situation, you'll be fine going through and rostering these guys, even if they have the long-term risk, because they have the long-term upside. Wham says, Swift or Mostert at the flex? Appreciate you, my man. We are going to go ahead. We will go with Raheem Mostert over DeAndre Swift. Tyrone says, someone dropped Kittle. How much of my $200 budget should I put in on a waiver claim? It's going to be very difficult to go through and give waiver wire budgeting options without knowing who we are going to drop, without knowing the overall league settings that we have. Because if this is a 14-team league where we have 7 bench spots, there I would say, let's go ahead. Let's use 90% of our budget. Let's go and let's drop $180 on George Kittle. Whereas if this is, say, an 8-team format, where you only have 5 bench spots. I see some of those teams in this live stream. At that point, it's like, okay, well, yeah, he's George Kittle, but still, the waiver wire options are bountiful. I mean, they're great. They'll be great all year. There, maybe we go 25%. So I'm very sorry. I know we're not going to be able to give you a straight up answer because the straight up answer wouldn't be accurate unless we knew the very minute details of your exact situation. All I will say is make sure you go through and account for the player that you are dropping, the league settings that you are in, and the true opportunity cost of what a roster spot is in your league. Now, in the Foxhole says, should we trade Kenneth Walker for Jahmyr Gibbs in a full PPR format? Very interesting question. I actually really like both these running backs, and I have a feeling Jahmyr Gibbs will be on a buy low video for us this week. So can y'all please go down to the live chat and let me know right now. And if you're watching this as a video later on, let me know as well in the comment section. Who would you rather have rest of season? Would you rather have Kenneth Walker or Jahmyr Gibbs in a full PPR format? Non-PPR league, it's easy. You go Kenneth Walker. Full PPR format may be a little bit more difficult. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 likes away from hitting 300 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the stream. We have Gibbs, Walker, Gibbs. Yeah, I'm going to be with y'all with Jahmyr Gibbs here. Non-PPR format, I think you go Kenneth Walker. Full PPR league, Jahmyr Gibbs should have a good enough role as a pass catcher where you can still go in his direction. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Turpy says, I'm in a 12-team league with 2 flex spots. We have Etienne, Dobbins, Diggs, Wilson, Debo, and DJ Moore starting. Should we be going with Mostert over any of these guys? Even in a full PPR format, I will be benching DJ Moore in favor of Raheem Mostert. Mostert does have the guaranteed role in what should be a very high-scoring matchup overall against the Los Angeles Chargers. And with DJ Moore, I'm just very, very concerned about the overall passing volume that you have with the Chicago Bears right now. Like the underdog pick'em week 1 is actually at, I believe, 40 and a half receiving yards for DJ Moore. They have like Justin Fields at like 180 passing yards. Like the passing volume in Chicago is going to be non-existent. Okay. Now, let me reiterate real quick, just in case you are just coming out to the live stream, please make sure you go down there, drop a like on this stream. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems, it is not too late. You can still do that on Underdog Fantasy with a link in the live chat, the link in the description, the link in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $200, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And also, you are going to get an exclusive Josh Allen pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard Monday night against the New York Jets. On top of this, you will get an additional mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy. I've never seen Underdog have 2 special pick'ems in the same week before this week. And if you have used promo code FLOCK on Underdog today, tomorrow, the next day, in the past, make sure you go to the flockfantasy.com Discord and fill out the giveaway form. That way you can go get a Flock Fantasy hat or shirt, whatever you're wanting. Just let me know what you want. Now, Dave coming out says, 8-team happy BR. We have Justin Herbert at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, Ridley, Terry. Running back, we have CMC, Jacobs, Andrews at tight end, Hall in the flex. And then on the bench, we have Madison, Thomas, Judy, Swift. Should we upgrade anywhere? And who are we going to be targeting? Nope. We have a phenomenal quarterback. We have an elite tight end. We have top end running back production. That's exactly what we're going to be looking for in a 8-team league. The only thing that I'm going to adjust is I will go ahead and please put Alexander Madison over Breece Hall in your flex in the short term, even if we prefer the long-term upside of Breece Hall. Captain coming out says, Mason, I need a pick'em special for Sunday to attack the Josh Allen special. Do you like Jefferson at over 7 receptions? Love you. I always look for the lower than on Underdog. To be completely honest with you, I mean, we hit on our pick'ems last night on Underdog because we went with the lower than on Jared Goff. Generally, everybody always looks at the higher than, so these sites go ahead and they bump those numbers up a bit. So if I'm looking for some of my favorite lower thans, honestly, I think that you could go ahead and potentially look at Alexander Madison for fewer than 66.5 rushing yards. I honestly think that at the same time, I mean, it would potentially be interesting to go with fewer than 31.5 passing attempts for CJ Stroud. I'm going to make an entire video about that for tomorrow, my man. I'll definitely ignore what I just said there. I'll look into all the numbers and I'll get you the best video tomorrow. Peter says, Pirine or Khalil Herbert? We lost Kupp and Watson. We're to go ahead. We will take Khalil Herbert over Samaje Pirine, my man. Top Miami says, would you trade Zay for Kelsey in a dynasty format? If you're a contending team, hell yes. If you're a contending team and you're telling me that you're going to be able to go through trade for Travis Kelsey and win your league, let's do it. Kelsey should be back next week. He's going to be the tight end 1 overall in fantasy. Gucci Broomstick says, sadly, I have both Taylor and Watson. Both went on my IR, went to the waiver wire, and were between Gallup and Isaiah Hodgins. Any other general options to find? If Van Jefferson's out there, please go get Van Jefferson with no cup. I think he will be startable at least over guys like Michael Gallup and Isaiah Hodgins. If I had to pick between these two players, I will go ahead. I will go Gallup over Isaiah just because we know that the passing volume should be there with the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. Now, Greg says, need to replace Watson with Khalil Herbert, Dalvin Cook, Tyler Boyd, Zay Jones, or Rashad Bateman. Also, we're going to go Cousins or Geno. Geno looks more appealing now that JSN looks like he's going to be good to go this week. Still going to go Kirk Cousins over Geno Smith. And then between these flex options, I will take Khalil Herbert, my friend. We'll just get the locked and loaded starting running back. I would rather avoid the New York Jets backs in a tough matchup, at least until we actually get to see what they're doing. Now, Hashling and Slasher says, Dotson with Terry or Deontay, thanks for the work this season. No, thank you so much, my man. And if you would have asked me earlier in the week, I definitely would have said John Dotson over Deontay Johnson, just because, I mean, it has a much better matchup, and we thought there was no Terry McLaurin. But now that McLaurin's going to be good to go, I am completely fine if you want to pivot to Deontay. I think we probably go Deontay, even in a very tough matchup against the 49ers. Jackson coming out with the donation, thank you. And Yard says, Watson out, we need a flex between Moore, Penny, Burks, and Jaden Reed. I'm going to operate under the assumption this is Elijah Moore. If this is DJ Moore, you go DJ Moore, and you don't think about it at all, my man. If this is Elijah Moore, I think that we are going to go ahead and instead, can I ask the live chat this? I don't know. I kind of want to say go Burks, but Burks has been injured with the knee, even if he is good to go. Can y'all please let me know in the live chat right now? Who would you start? Would you start Reed, Burks, Penny, or Elijah Moore? And also, we are 1 like away from hitting 400 likes on the stream. Go down there and hit that like button. Reed, Moore, Burks, Reed, Moore, Burks. If it's Rondale Moore, hell no. Do not start Rondale Moore. Moore, Reed, Moore. I don't know. I mean, I really have a feeling that like if you go out there and you start Jaden Reed, it's going to be the same thing as if you started a Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver last night because you thought someone had to catch the ball without Kelsey, you know? I would rather avoid it if possible, that is. Okay, so now our next question coming out from Will Smith says, full BBR, 1 flex. Who do you start? Gabe Davis, London, or Mike Evans? I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to play Mike Evans. I really like the matchup. I think that they're going to have to go out there and they're going to have to try to air the ball out against the Minnesota Vikings if they're going to keep up with that offense. JJ out says 10-team BBR. On the bench, we have Swift, Penny, Warren, Algier, Kirk, and Davis. Should we add a sleeper pick or hold between Mims, Laporta, Mingo, Roshan, Bateman, or another suggestion? I actually kind of like these sleeper options down here off the waiver wire. I mean, Laporta did look really good last night. With that being said, our bench is great. With that being said, our bench is better than these guys on waivers. But whenever you look at a waiver wire that has this many solid options, generally what it tells us to do is we want to go ahead and we want to make as many 2-for-1 deals as we possibly can. Make as many 2-for-1 deals as we can. That way we can just go backfill with these options from the waiver wire without having to go ahead and, drop anybody that we really like. Colton says, start 1 flex. We have Pickens, Dotson, Brandon Cooks, Javonte, and Antonio Gibson. I think we are going to go ahead. I think that we are going to be taking Javonte Williams. Actually, no. We will still go John Dotson. It's still a great matchup. I'm definitely less excited about Dotson than we were earlier in the week. Definitely more excited about Javonte than we were earlier in the week. But I don't know if we can go as far as flipping these guys now. Adrian says, hook 'em Lawrence. Hook 'em, my man. Have BBR Madison or Williams in the flex. Have BBR, I think we are going to go ahead and take Alexander Madison. Even if Mike Williams has a higher ceiling. Really love the game environment for Williams. Nick sent us a message. Awesome, my man. Trenton says, choose 2 for the flex. Full BBR, Higgins, Godwin, and Dobbins. We're going to go Higgins and Dobbins. I would love to start Chris Godwin this week. But like I said, I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in a position where they kind of have to go out there and air the ball out. But I mean, Dobbins, perfect matchup against the Texans. Higgins, much, much better offense overall. Jackson coming out says, 12-team double flex format. We have Tua, Tyreek, Mixon, Robinson, Devonta Smith, Andrews, London, I'm assuming everybody, when you say Jay Williams, let me know if it's Jamal. Let me know if it's Javonte. We're going to assume it's Jamal. On the bench, we have Pierce, Thielen, Addison, Boyd. Is this a weak team, and any advice? So generally, I would like to have an elite level quarterback, but that's more important in leagues with only one flex spot. In leagues with multiple flex spots, you can overcome a potential lack of elite level quarterback play if we just go ahead and focus in on grabbing some dominant flex options. With that being said, I really like the long term if that's Dameon Pierce on the bench. This is a very weak team if it's Alec Pierce. Good team if it's Dameon. I think we just continue to turn the bottom end of the bench. I do want to have a little bit more running back depth. I probably would drop Adam Thielen. Probably go pick up a running back off the waiver wire. Jacob says Dobbs or Pickens to replace Watson this week. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take George Pickens. I think the Packers wide receivers, similar to the Chiefs wide receivers last night, are going to end up being a trap. Cap says 10-team at BBR1 flex. We have Lamar, Bijan, Pierce, Amon-Ra, Ridley, Musgrave, Christian Watson out. Now on the bench, we have Charbonnet, Devon Achane, Gainwell, JSN, Deontay, Zay Flowers, and Jonathan Mingo. Really not excited about it. Really tough matchup for Deontay Johnson going up against the 49ers. But to be honest with you, my friend, you probably have to go ahead. You probably have to play Deontay Johnson. I don't think that you're going to be able to get away from it. You have the guaranteed target volume. Whereas with the rookie wide receivers, maybe if they had already broken out, maybe if we've already seen them in the NFL, we could go in that direction. But it's very hard to make that commitment right now. Now, Pure Soul coming out says Geno, Dotson, Addison, Andrews for Tyreek, Kincaid, and Anthony Richardson. We have St. Brown and Lamb. Hill would give me 3 studs. So if we just go through down the line, going from Geno to Anthony Richardson, I believe to be an upgrade with the overall upside that we get with Richardson. Going from, say, Dotson to Dalton Kincaid, kind of a downgrade. Doesn't really matter too much at the end of the day when we're talking about these massive pieces. Addison and Andrews versus Tyreek Hill. Clearly give me Tyreek. So we're going to go with Tyreek Hill. With this being said, I really hope it's a league with multiple flex spots. If it's a league with only one flex and you can only start 2 wide receivers, then at that point, please load up the bench with as many high upside waiver wire running backs as possible and avoid the wide receiver depth if we have those 3 elite level wide receivers. Now, Oracle coming out says Allen, Diggs, DJ Moore, Pollard, Stevenson, Andrews. The flex, we have Rashad White. And then on the bench, we have Ayuk, Akers, Javonte, Montgomery. I wish we would have played Montgomery. Frymuth, and then the Commanders defense week 1. Great defense streamer. Overall, I think it's a team that has so much depth, but we can afford an upgrade in the starting lineup. If on the bench we have Akers, Montgomery, Javonte, there's a team with Jonathan Taylor right now. There's a team with Alvin Kamara right now. There are teams that need help at running back that they can't solve that position off the waiver wire. So if we could go out there and send like Rashad White and DJ Moore, Cam Akers and DJ Moore, I mean, Javonte Williams and Brandon Ayuk, and go get the best wide receiver in return and get some value for some of this running back depth that we have, I would love to go ahead and do that if we can, my friend. Now, going over to our next question. We're looking at Marvin says, 12-team standard league, start 1, flex 1. We have Herbert, Swift, Charbonnet, Ward, or Michael Thomas. We're going to go ahead. We will be starting Khalil Herbert, my friend. The flex will be much more difficult. We're not going to be going Charbonnet. We're not going to be going Warren. It will be down between Swift, Michael Thomas. I like the long-term upside of these individual names. I don't necessarily know if we are excited about the guaranteed roles that they have week 1 because I don't think anything's guaranteed here. I personally probably go with DeAndre Swift, but if you wanted to go Michael, you know what? Let me look up what their pick'ems are on Underdog because to be completely honest with you, I think that can give us a little bit of insight. Just whatever you do, don't play Charbonnet, don't play Jalen Warren. Make sure we at least have Khalil Herbert in here. Okay. So Thomas. Michael Thomas right now is at 3.5 receptions on Underdog, 41.5 receiving yards. Swift is at 50 total yards, 2 receptions, 13.5 receiving yards. I think you probably go Swift. If Underdog's going to give Swift like an extra 15 yards compared to Michael Thomas, whatever it was, if Underdog's going to bump the Swift volume projection, I think they have similar ceilings. I'm going to go Swift there. Danny says, which Bills tight end to start? We can go Kincaid or Dawson Knox. Now, I definitely think that you're more excited long-term about Dalton Kincaid than you are in the short term, and I definitely think that Dawson Knox has a role, but you still have to play the guy they just drafted in round 1. Now, Hadifi coming out says 14-team full PPR format. We have Hurts at quarterback, running back. We have Mixon, Dobbins. We have Deontay, Judy at wide receiver, Kelsey at tight end, and then the flex, Brian Robinson, Johnson, Warren, Kincaid. Any tips? So in a 14-team format, I think this is a great team. Keep in mind, 14-team league, our overall threshold for a player to make a difference is going to be much, much lower. Now, with that being said, once we do get Travis Kelce back in week 2, with this being a 14-team format, I think that we want to be prioritizing upside running backs, wide receivers down there on the bench, especially depth wide receivers when they will be a little bit harder to come by. And once Kelce is healthy, I would love to see if we can package together Dalton Kincaid and maybe a player like Jerry Jeudy or Deontay Johnson to get an upgrade at wide receiver and then bring in a high upside running back or wide receiver off the waiver wire. Even if it's a rookie, someone like Zay Flowers is not going to be there, but even if it's a rookie like Marvin Mims. J. Espinosa says, what do you think about the team in a 12-team PPR format? We have Hurts, CMC, Paul. Okay, GG's, the rest of the league. We have Smith stacked up with Hurts. We have Hopkins. In the flex, we have Madison. We have Ingram at tight end. And then on the bench, we have Deontay, Chark, Collins, Lazard, Dion, Bryce Young. Any moves? Drop Bryce Young. You have Jalen Hurts. You don't need a backup quarterback. Really like Young for his NFL career. He's not going to be productive in fantasy this year, though. So drop Bryce Young, definitely pick up another running back where we can. I really think that we want to wait until we see what the role is going to be like for Deion Jackson. If Deion pops, then maybe at that point we see if we can go ahead and sell him when we don't need that running back depth. I mean, right now. But yeah, overall, phenomenal team. We have 2 elite RB1s. We have our, QB1 stacked with our wide receiver. We have a respectable tight end. I think it's a phenomenal team. Aliens coming out says 10-team non-PPR Superflex. Cousins, Carr, Love at quarterback. Running back, we have Henry, Walker, Aaron Jones, Cam Akers. Wide receiver, we have Hill, Ridley, DK, Devonta Smith, Jameson. Tight end, we have Kittle. So overall, in this Superflex format, I would love to go through and love to get an upgrade at QB. I mean, I understand, yeah, we have guys we can get by with. We can get by with Derek Carr, QB2, but Cam Akers is RB4 here. Devonta Smith is our wide receiver 4. I mean, the fact of the matter is we can afford a quarterback upgrade there, my friend. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to do everything we can. Package Cam Akers with Kirk Cousins. Go get the best quarterback in return. Go out there, package Devonta Smith with Derek Carr. Go get the best quarterback we can in return. I think that some teams will actually be looking for those guys, and we just don't need them. And it would be really helpful to just get an additional 3-4 points per game bump at both quarterback spots in a Superflex league. Now, Roy says, love the channel. Herbert, Chase, St. Brown, Evans, JSN, Bateman, Stevenson, Sanders, Hall, Gibson, Pirine, Devon Achane, Kincaid, and Dulcich. What are your thoughts? Really like having 2 tight ends down here if Kincaid's going to be our main guy. I mean, I really like the top end production at wide receiver. With that being said, in the short term, a running back may be a little bit harder to come by. If we could go through, if we could potentially package someone like Rashad Bateman with Antonio Gibson, get a running back upgrade there. That way we have someone to start over Breece Hall in the immediate term and open up another roster spot where we can pick up another RB. I think that'd be interesting because at the end of the day, when we're sitting with Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Evans, JSN, that wide receiver depth isn't going to help us nearly as much as if we were to go through and just see if we can get an upgrade at RB, my man. Now, Ray says, JT stash on the IR. Should I try to sell or hold? It's going to depend. If your roster also has maybe Cooper Kupp, if your roster has maybe Alvin Kamara, then at that point, we should probably at least look to sell one of these guys, look to get some production in right now. But if we're crushing it, if we're loving life, if we're not stressing right now with the rest of our team, and we can just hold the long-term upside of Jonathan Taylor, I mean, I think that he still does have a very high ceiling, even if the floor is incredibly low. So I think it's really dependent on your situation on if Taylor's a hold or a sell. Trenton says, pick 2. We have Williams, Deontay, or London. We're going to go Mike Williams and Drake London, my friend. Deontay Johnson, really tough matchup against the 49ers. Ricardo says, 12-team full PPR format, 1 flex. We have Jacobs, Pierce at RB. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek Watson. We have Dallas Goedert at tight end. We have Brian Robinson, Zay Flowers for the long-term upside. Love the team. Love the Hurts Goddard stack. I mean, we're going to be sliding, I guess, Zay Flowers into the starting lineup over Christian Watson. I would rather not start Zay Flowers this week. I'd rather see the Zay Flowers breakout before we had to trust it. I would love to go to the waiver wire and see if there's another viable wide receiver. Like, I would probably rather start Van Jefferson this week in replacement of Christian Watson than Zay Flowers. But ladies and gentlemen, we are one like away from hitting 500 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. We've been live for 133 days in a row now. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pickups on Underdog Fantasy, it's not too late. You can still find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to get you a 100% deposit match up to $200, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And if you signed up with promo code FLOCK, you're going to be getting an exclusive Josh Allen special. Pick 'em Monday night, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets. An additional mystery special pick 'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy. Never seen them do two special pick 'ems in the same week. And then also make sure you fill out the link in the Discord if you want your Flock Fantasy hat, if you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. But our next question coming out from Hayden says, PBR start one, DJ Moore, James Cook, Dotson, JSN, or Gabe Davis. We'll go DJ Moore. I'm not really excited about the overall passing volume here. I mean, if you looked at our rankings, we had Dots. Actually, I still kind of want to go Dotson. Dotson, the matchup's great against Arizona, even if you do have Terry McLaurin coming back in. We're definitely going Rodgers over Howell. And in a different league, we need to go with two, Terry, Pittman, Gabe Davis, or Van Jefferson. Pittman will definitely be one of these guys. I think I still go Gabe Davis over Terry McLaurin. With McLaurin with the turf toe, I don't know if I want to trust it. There's an outside chance that he is just used primarily as a decoy, where you actually have Dotson with the targets. You have Brian Robinson getting a ton of carries underneath. So I'm going to go with Pittman, Gabe Davis. And then with the first question, oh my gosh. Can y'all help me out with this in the live chat, ladies and gentlemen? Who would y'all rather start this week? I think this is a super tough call. I don't know if there's a right answer. DJ Moore, James Cook, or Jahan Dotson. Out of these three names, they're definitely a tier ahead of the JSN, the Gabe Davis of the world. But with the first three, DJ Moore, James Cook, Jahan Dotson, now that McLaurin's good to go, I think it's much tougher. But we got a DJ, Dotson, DJ. So it looks like, yeah, most people are pivoting over to DJ Moore. If you had no McLaurin, it'd be super easy. We could just lock in Dotson, right? It'd be super easy. Okay. But give me a second. And Jason says, start A.J. Dillon or George Pickens in the flex. Thanks, Brody. No, thank you so much, my man. Yeah, super brutal matchup that you have for George Pickens going up against the 49ers. And maybe make the argument, well, Mason, they're going to look to run the ball more in Green Bay, considering the fact that, I mean, they have nobody to throw it to. You want to give a bump to Dillon. I'm worried that the overall offense may be a tad bit worse with that in mind. So I'm actually probably going to go ahead and I'm probably just going to take George Pickens, especially if it will be a full PPR format, my friend. Okay. Now, there were a couple other questions. Actually, I think we need to go through and we need to pull this up on the other screen. These are too many to just read out. So let me prepare this, ladies and gentlemen, so I can continue to show you all the questions on the screen. Okay, bada boom, bada bang. Okay, so I think our next one actually was not from Hayden. We already did answer that one. Our next one is coming out from Zach. Zach says, I know this is ugly, but who should I start as my flex? Gibson, Nico, Bateman. Starters are Hurts, Sanders, Jamal, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra, Komet. Okay, so since we started off with Amon-Ra, we are in a very fortunate position overall. I think we are going to go ahead. We will take Antonio Gibson. Ultimately, I do think that it's going to end up being a game where you're a little bit more excited about what you get from Brian Robinson. But still, I mean, maybe Gibson goes out there. Maybe Gibson gives us something, right? I mean, it's not like Brian Robinson is a traditional workhorse running back. It's not like he's going to take every single touch in this backfield. They should still look to run the ball a ton. The Arizona Cardinals defense should still be horrendous. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go Antonio Gibson here, my man. But thank you so much for always hanging out with us. And AK Bash says, should I start Dotson or Jamal Williams week 1? Going to be actually super easy to go ahead and take Jamal here, my friend. Now, Eduardo says traded Lamb and Sutton for Nick Chubb and Christian Kirk. Team is Rodgers, Chubb, Pacheco, Chase, Wilson, Andrews, Ridley. The bench, we have Goff, Hunt, Kamara, James Cook. Oh, yeah, we had to go through and trade for Chubb. I think going from Lamb to Chubb, same tier. I think going from Sutton to Kirk, slight upgrade. So it really does come down to, okay, did you need a running back? Would it make more sense for you to go for a wide receiver? Fair trade, if you're telling us RB1 before this was Isaiah Pacheco. Yeah, you had to go through. You had to make this move, my man. Noah says, hey, you need a better wide receiver in a 12-team one flex league where we're rolling with Watson, London, Kirk, Dotson, Beckham, and Raheem Mostert. What are some options and who should we be looking to trade with? Yeah, this is a tough spot, my man. If you're telling me Raheem Mostert's expendable, if we wanted to go through and see if we could package together like Mostert and Jahan Dotson to get up to the Amari Cooper, DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith range, or maybe even we shoot for the stars and see if we can somehow, some way swindle ourselves into Chris Olave or Jalen Waddle. That could also be a thought there, but I agree. We actually probably do need to go out there and upgrade at wide receiver. Now, Hayden coming out says, no Kelsey, Ferguson, Conklin, Knox, Musgrave, or Irv Smith Jr. The situation looks perfect for Musgrave, given the fact that, I mean, hell, there's nobody else to throw the ball to there in Green Bay. But with that being said, I still probably go ahead and start Jake Ferguson just because I'm so risk averse when it comes to starting rookie tight ends. Colin says, Carr or Anthony Richardson, 4-point pass touchdown, Olave stack. Not really taking too much into consideration for the stack here. If it's a 4-point passing touchdown format, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Anthony Richardson just because the rushing upside. Like, let me look at the underdog pick'ems this week, just get an idea of maybe what the actual expectations should be for Anthony Richardson. Yeah, Richardson's at 45.5 rushing yards this week. He's at 17 fantasy points, whereas they have Derek Carr at 15.5 fantasy points. So yeah, underdog has Anthony Richardson for 1.5 more than Derek Carr as well. Josh says, week 1, Richardson or Sam out. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Anthony Richardson, assuming it's a 4-point passing touchdown format. And Hollywood or Reed. If Hollywood's good to go, we'll go Hollywood. Hollywood right now is questionable, and they are tanking, so they have no reason to play him if they don't want to. Now, Jagu coming out says, 12-team PPR with 1 flex. We have Allen, CMC, ETN, Watson, Dotson, Pitts, Walker, Davis, Brian Robinson, Mitchell, Warren, Rashad, Mingo. Is Walker for Amari a good trade for the squad? So here, I understand, yeah, we do have elite level running backs with CMC and Travis Etienne. But ultimately, at the end of the day, in a league where you only have 1 flex spot, you're in a position where wide receiver depth doesn't really matter nearly as much as getting that top-end running back production. I do view Kenneth Walker as a locked and loaded RB1. So I'm actually going to go ahead. I'm going to keep Kenneth Walker in this instance, my friend. Mindtrick says Addison or Jerry Jeudy. We also have Jaden Reed as option now. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy looks like he'll probably be good to go. Of course, we can always panic. We can always switch to Jaden Reed if Jeudy does not go. But I'm going to operate under the assumption Jerry Jeudy is playing. I think we do have to go Jerry Jeudy. Like I said, I do ultimately think that this is a Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver situation if you were looking at the Green Bay Packers guys right now. Similar to the Chiefs last night, you shouldn't have started a wide receiver just because Kelsey was out. Wide receiver is one with talent. Running back's one with opportunity. So you can easily start a backup running back when the starter's out. It doesn't really work that way with wide receiver. Kevin says Dotson or DeAndre Hopkins. If you would have asked me earlier in the week, 100% we would have gone Dotson based off the McLaurin injury. But now that Terry's good to go, we're going to go Hopkins. And then Isaac says Van Jefferson or Deion Jackson. Let me see if Underdog has some pick'ems up for these guys. I mean, it's so hard to know exactly what the projections should be for these respective players. Van Jefferson, they have at 42.5 receiving yards and only 3 receptions. Deion Jackson, they don't have a lineup for right now. I actually probably go Deion. I mean, both guys are untalented options, but similar to what we were talking about earlier, running backs won with just opportunity. Wide receiver, you can't really score fantasy points if you just have opportunity. You have to have the talent as well. But I think we can go back to pulling up these questions on the good view. So let me get ready for that. And as I get ready for that, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, if you have not done so already, we're about to hit 600 likes on this live stream. Go down there, drop a like on this stream. And in case you did not hear earlier, we are giving away Flock Fantasy hats. We ordered a couple hundred of these. I spent the past 8 hours boxing them. And yes, we will have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds to ship out. So if you have signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, make sure you go to our Discord chat. Make sure you fill out the Google form. If you haven't signed up to Underdog yet, it's not too late. You can find the link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK will get you a 100% deposit match up to $100. Plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you have an exclusive Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets on Monday night, only with promo code FLOCK. And if you are new to Underdog, you get an additional mystery special pick'em on top of that. Never seen Underdog have 2 special pick'ems the same week. But Steven says, should I be trying to trade Watson? And how do you feel about the Andrews-Waller injuries? So it looks like Waller is good to go. Looks like Andrews probably be good to go as well. I'm not going to look into them too much. And regarding Christian Watson, really tough time to sell him, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want a player to miss a game, it's probably week 1. It's not in the fantasy football playoffs when it matters most. It's not in the middle of the season when we're also dealing with bye weeks on top of everything. So I would say we're most likely going to be looking to just keep Christian Watson. Would be very hard to sell him at this moment. Brian says 10-team double flex league where we have Lamar at quarterback. Running back, we have Akers, Dobbins. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, Ridley, Waller at tight end, Dillon, and Juju Smith-Schuster. On the bench, we have Cooper Kupp, Geno Smith, Quentin Johnson, any trade for Kupp or a running back. So in general, I think that this is a team that can look to afford to keep Cooper Kupp because it's only a 10-team format rather than a 12-team league. But considering the fact that we have Kupp down there on the bench, we have Quentin Johnson for the long-term play as well, we do need to be optimizing the rest of our bench for some players that can actually help us in the immediate term. So what I would look to do is I would look to cut Geno Smith, just go with Lamar Jackson every single week. I wouldn't even say only look for a running back off the waiver wire. I think you can look for a wide receiver if you want. I would say with this kind of team, the waiver wire would be significantly worse in a 12-team format where I'd say, yeah, you probably should go ahead. You probably should trade Cooper Kupp, but I think you can afford to hold on to him here, my friend. Now, Ian coming out says, do I trade DeAndre Swift for Deontay Johnson? I'd say probably not. I mean, unless it's a multi-flex league, unless depth is going to matter a little bit more, we're probably just going to roll with Swift. Like, Swift has upside, right? If Swift goes out there and all of a sudden he is a running back that, I don't know, is the starter for the Philadelphia Eagles, he wins your league. 10-team league, wide receiver depth doesn't really matter. Brody says, for my flex, are we going to go Mims or JSN? You definitely have to go JSN now that he's good to go. And Jerry Jeudy looks like he is as well. Now, Keegan coming out says, I have Dallas's defense, but on the waiver wire, there is Washington. You're going Washington, my man. Beautiful matchup against Arizona. Seattle, the Ravens. I guess Seattle's a great matchup as well. I like Dallas's defense for the season, but I like the others for week 1. Everybody go like the stream. Yes, if you have not done so already, listen to Keegan. Everybody go down there and drop a like on this live stream. I would say you're honestly probably going to have to take Washington. Too good to pass up on. It's a good defense as well. I mean, let me look up the Dallas Cowboys matchups over the next few weeks. Obviously, this week against the Giants, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, we're not sitting here and panicking that they have to go up against Daniel Jones. They are about 3, I believe maybe 3.5 point favorites in this game, which is generally what you're looking for. You want big favorites if you are going to be playing defenses. But the following week, the Dallas Cowboys will be playing the New York Jets. I don't think we want to start them against the Jets with Rodgers. I probably would look to, honestly, I don't want to say cut. I'd probably cut the Dallas Cowboys defense. I personally stream. I'd be going down. I'll be going Washington over them. Jacob says, a full BBR 10 team, start to DJ, P. Ryan, Christian Kirk, Zay, or Hollywood. With running back and quarterback heavy early in the draft, we have Hopkins as wide receiver 1. We're going to go with DJ Moore and Christian Kirk, my man. Very interesting spot in that Zay Jones may actually have more snaps. Zay Jones may actually run more routes than what you have with Christian Kirk, but Christian Kirk will be the slot wide receiver who ultimately sees more targets, which obviously that's what leads to fantasy football production. Jason coming out says, trade Lazard for Zach Charbonnet. I think it really does depend on your league settings. If it's like a league with only one flex spot where the wide receiver depth in Allen Lazard's never going to move the needle for you, sure, because then, I mean, if Kenneth Walker were to go down, Zach Charbonnet fundamentally is a league-winning running back, probably an RB1 overall. Whereas if Garrett Wilson goes down, what's Lazard a high-end wide receiver 3 at that point? So it depends. Like, do we need depth in that league? Do we need top-end stud? Zach says, my guy was Javonte Williams. My bad, dude. No, all good, my man. And yeah, I just want to reiterate. I know it's very, easy to assume whenever you're, typing out, looking at your team, that if you say Jay Williams, I'm going to know who it is. But there are 3 Jay Williams in the NFL, so please make sure if you say Jay Williams, you let me know if it's Jamal, Jameson, or Javonte. Just say the first name. Researching this coming out says, shoot me straight. Am I starting Swift or Hall? Full BBR league. Too much going on. Love the content. Many thanks. No, thank you, my man. Now, very uncertain situations for both these guys, right? With DeAndre Swift, he looks like he may be in a 3-headed monster with Gainwell, with Rashad Penny. It's very hard to know what the workload's going to look like week 1. Not a great matchup either going up against the New England Patriots. With Breece Hall, the workload's uncertain. I mean, hell, he is going to be going out there and he's going to be in a 2-man backfield splitting with Dalvin. We don't know what the split's going to be either way. So I don't know the right answer, my man. I will go with who I believe to be the more talented running back, where we only have to worry about one other back in his offense. So I'm going to go ahead. I will take Breece Hall here, my friend. Jake coming out says, yo, Flock, love the vids. Help me win a fantasy chip last year. Hell yeah, my man. Should I start Dalvin or Javonte this week? If you would have asked me earlier in the week, I actually probably would have told you Dalvin Cook. But based off the recent reports of Sean Payton coming out saying that Javonte's going to see a full workload, I'll actually pivot over to Javonte. I like that Jerry Jeudy's going to be good to go as well because I think they pick up more first downs and have more trips to the red zone overall. Squirm says, choose one flex, Odell, Pickens, Javonte, and Lazard. Similar to what we were just saying previously, I think we're going to go with Javonte for the reasons we just mentioned. And when it comes to George Pickens, very tough spot against the 49ers. I mean, they're supposed to be a bottom 5 scoring offense this next week. Richard says, start Lamar or Watson week 1. Thanks, Mason. No, thank you, my man. Obviously, Watson is exciting given the fact it could be a potential shootout against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm still going to go ahead and take Lamar Jackson with the elite rushing ceiling. Rudy says, Tua, Madison, Ramondre, Tyreek, Lamb, Dulcich, Dotson. And then on the bench, we have Deontay, Hollywood, Herbert, Charbonnet, Geno, Kincaid, and JT on the IR. With these quarterbacks and tight ends, I'm actually going to be fine rostering 2 of them. I think at this point, though, I would swap our flex of Jahan Dotson with Deontay. I hate to say it. I thought Dotson was going to go out there and crush Deontay, but now that you have McLaurin good to go, even if it's a tough matchup, Deontay Johnson has the guaranteed target volume. So I'm just going to take the guy with the guaranteed volume as I usually do. Uncle Philly says, better stash Jaden Reed or Ty Chandler. I think you can stash Jaden Reed for this week to see what he does because you get the benefit of seeing Jaden Reed's role immediately, right? If Reed goes out there and he does nothing, no harm, no foul. Treat him like Sky. Treat him like Kadarius Toney. If he was on your bench, he had the opportunity because the wide receivers went down in front of him and he flounders it, cut him, send him to the waiver wire, and you're going to know within a week. Whereas if we roster Ty Chandler, we're not really going to figure anything out in a week. So I would go with Jaden Reed on your bench, see what happens with no Christian Watson. And then if you don't have the production that you want, if you don't have the role that you want, then at that point, I will go ahead and I will look to cut him and we will look to pick up Ty Chandler. Now, Killer Cal Style says, trade DeAndre Hopkins for DeAndre Swift. Now, you got to keep Hopkins. Jacob says, how BBR 0 flex, out wide receiver 3. Are we going to start Collins, Elijah, Zay Jones, or Darnell Mooney? Tyreek and Devonta Smith, 1 and 2. We have Kupp out there. Okay, so we need Kupp back in, my man. We definitely need Kupp back in. I'm actually probably going to go with Elijah Moore. I think maybe Elijah Moore actually has one of the lower floors out of this group. But I think based off the offense he's in, based off the ceiling that we saw just 2 years ago, I think he actually has one of the higher ceilings. Now, Daniel says, full PPR, we're going to go with DJ Moore or Jay Johnson. I'm assuming you meant Deontay Johnson because you're saying Pitt, my man. And what do you think of Akers this weekend? The issue with Akers is while he may see a lot of volume, this is going to be an offense that just fundamentally is so bad that I don't really see a ton of trips to the red zone. I don't see them picking up a lot of first downs. So I'm overall a little bit worried about what we are going to have with the efficiency in Los Angeles and Cam Akers' overall fantasy production in general. And if you look at DJ Moore versus Deontay Johnson, I mean, on Underdog right now, their pick'em lines, you have Deontay at 50.5 receiving yards. You have DJ Moore at 48.5. So I'm probably going to go ahead. I will take Deontay. I mean, with DJ Moore, just the overall passing volume in Chicago is supposed to be so bad. We're literally the pick'em on Justin Fields this week. It's at like 180 passing yards. I'd rather see the Bears passing offense get better before we go through and put them in. Okay, so now our next question coming out from Ted says, 10-team PPR, 1 quarterback, 1 flex. We have Lawrence, Etienne, Ramondre, Diggs, Judy, Goddard, Sanders. And then on the bench, we have Dobbins, Akers, Brian Robinson, Charbonnet, Devon Achane, Zay Jones. How can I solve my wide receiver problem, or do we wait for Cup? Thank you. No, thank you so much, my man. And overall, I will say a couple different things. One, you need to be getting J.K. Dobbins into the starting lineup. We're going to be putting him in there over Miles Sanders based off the great matchup that he has against the Houston Texans. Two, if we wanted to solve this wide receiver issue now, should be super simple. Trade Jerry Jeudy and Brian Robinson. Trade Jerry Jeudy and Cam Akers. Trade Jerry Jeudy and one of these depth running backs that we have on this team for a team that needs a running back, whether that's the Taylor drafter, whether that is the I don't know, Alvin Kamara drafter, and go out there and go get a wide receiver we feel comfortable with. Because ultimately, we have 6 startable running backs with this team. We have Etienne, Ramondre, Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, Brian Robinson. We even have the upside of Zach Charbonnet, which I love, right? But, I mean, when we have this embarrassment of riches and we have a hole on our roster, this is why we like having so many running backs with production. Because there will always be a buyer and there'll always be a market where if we wanted to go out there and see if we could get something, probably can. Now, Trey's coming out and says, which team is better in a full PPR format? We have Fields at quarterback, James Cook at running back with Jacobs, Chase, Debo, Ingram, Terry, DJ Moore versus Mahomes, Mixon, Pacheco, Waddle, Judy, Kelsey, JSN, and Aaron Jones. So quarterback upgrade, team 2. Tight end, team 2. Running back, team 1. Wide receiver, team 1. Flex, team 2. So generally, I would say if these teams were to play each other right now, team 1's probably the better team. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the advantage that you get by having Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes in the long term, obviously this hasn't played out yet because Kelce just missed this game. But in the long term, you don't have to roster a backup quarterback. You don't have to roster a backup tight end. So there you're able to go through, and if you're able to play the waiver wire and find an advantage at running back and wide receiver that way, then hell, I mean, you can eventually in the long term have the better team. So I'd actually probably rather have team 2 in the long term with Mahomes and Kelce. Now, Christian says, Pollard owner wants a trade package. 12-team PPR, my offer is DK, Walker, Pittman for Pollard, Ayuk, JSN. We have Diggs, Derrick Henry, Montgomery, Christian Watson, Bateman. Thank you. No, thank you, my man. Well, you're going from Kenneth Walker to Tony Pollard is an upgrade. Going from Michael Pittman to Jackson Smith and Jigba is an upgrade. Going from DK to Ayuk's a downgrade. I would rather upgrade with the running back tiers rather than upgrading with the wide receiver tiers. So we're going to go ahead. We will be taking the Tony Pollard side and getting the best player in the deal. Mind Tricks, long time remember the flock out here saying, PBR 10-team league, we have Lawrence at quarterback. Running back, we have Bijan, Najee, Pacheco. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, Ridley, Pittman, Judy, Addison. Tight end, Kincaid and Higbee. We add the 109. I really like rostering 2 tight ends of our top guys. Kincaid, play Higbee at the beginning of the season. Should be in a really good spot with a cup injury. We have the top end running back production, the top end wide receiver production. We have a very well-balanced roster. Love the team. We have Lawrence stacked up with Ridley. I'm not even looking to do anything. Great team, my man. Great team. But ladies and gentlemen, we are one like away from hitting 700 likes on this stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. And if you missed earlier, we were giving away Flock Fantasy hats. We were giving away shirts. I've spent the last 8 hours boxing these bad boys up. And if you want one, all you have had to do is sign up to Underdog Fantasy promo code FLOG, go to the Flock Fantasy Discord and fill out that Google form. And the other thing is, ladies and gentlemen, of course, if you're not on Underdog Fantasy already, it's not too late. You can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOG's also going to get you 100% deposit match up to $200, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings. And if you are new to Underdog, you'll get an additional Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets week 1. On top of that, you'll get an additional mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. You can find that link in the live chat and description. Now, Henry coming out saying 12-team full BBR format with only one flex, 4-point passing touchdown format. We're starting Lamar, Hall, James Cook, Tyreek Adams, Mike Williams at the flex, Dave. Oh, this is a great team, my man. 2 elite level wide receiver ones. We have the quarterback that we're rolling with every single week. We have a wide receiver at the flex that we can be excited about for a 12-team format. This is going to be a great team under one circumstance. You go through, roster as many running backs as you possibly can. If your bench is loaded with RB, I'm happy and we're golden. Now, with that being said, if you're rostering guys like Hunter Renfrow, Jacoby Myers, Tank Dell, and we're loading it up with a bunch of these low upside, high floor options, that's not going to be great because running back is our hole here. Running back is our weakness. So don't have a backup quarterback. Don't have depth wide receivers. Just go out there and prioritize as many running backs you can get your hands on. Ty says 10-team PBR format, 2 quarterbacks with only 2 flex spots. We have Hawkinson and Micah. Should I drop Goddard and pick up Nick Bosa from the waiver wire or keep 2 tight ends? So if it's going to be a league where you only have 1 IDP players will not matter. And I know this sounds dumb. I know it sounds like we're oversimplifying it, but think about it. Nick Bosa is on the waiver wire. That should tell you everything you need to know about how you should be valuing these individual defensive players. Here you're starting 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 2 flexes, and a tight end. You have 9 offensive starters to 1 defensive starter. You shouldn't even have a backup IDP player, my man. You should stream the position whenever you want it. If people are rostering backup IDPs, you thank them for it. DT says, Mason, please answer no underdog line for Josh Allen. I use code FLOG. Yeah, so if you look at the graphic, my friend, the underdog special is going to show up on Sunday morning. This is going to be for the Monday night game. The reason being is this is a Flock exclusive, so they have to manually run it for everybody that had used promo code FLOG up at Sunday morning. So you got to sign up by Sunday morning at 9 a.m. It'll be live for you Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, my friend. Now, Kevin says it's a Monday night game, so you should have plenty of time to take advantage. Kevin says, I gave Kittle and Andrews. Should I be worried about both of them missing the game? We also have Ferguson from Dallas. One of these guys is going to play. I know they're both questionable. I'd be surprised if week 1 we have Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and George Kittle all missing. Jeremy says, should I trade Etienne Addison for Ridley in the future first? Full BBR Superflex Dynasty, where it looks like we have a contending team right now, or at least we're trying to contend based off having Derrick Henry and J.K. Dobbins here. So Addison versus the future first, fair deal, pick your poison. Etienne versus Ridley, give me Etienne. So honestly, I'd rather have Etienne and Addison. Andres coming out says 10-team full BBR double flex. We have Chase, Burrow, Olave, Waddle, Kupp, Sanders, James Cook, Rashad White, JT, Frymuth, Judy, Tank, Bigsby. Suggestions. Thanks, man. No, thank you, my man. Now, I'll say I like making bets on players with high upside. I like going through and making a bet on Cooper Kupp, making a bet on Jonathan Taylor, but not on the same roster, right? These are guys that have the long-term upside, but in the short term, they are extremely risky, and we're going to get nothing from them, especially in a league with 2 flex spots where depth is going to be a little bit more important, and it will be a little bit harder to find actually startable players. So what I would do if I were you, my man, is I would honestly look to sell one of Jonathan Taylor or one of Cooper Kupp. I don't know if we can get away with having both of them on our roster, even if I would like having one. Okay. Now, Ivan coming out says, 10-team league. We have one flex. We have Lawrence, CMC, Chubb, Andrews, Kirk, Keenan, DJ, Ayuk, McLaurin, Mostert, Sky, Roshan. Great team. 10-team league with only one flex. I would love to have an elite level QB, especially if we have Andrews here. If we could get to Lamar Jackson by packaging, say, Trevor Lawrence and a depth wide receiver such as DJ Moore, Trevor Lawrence and a depth wide receiver such as Brandon Ayuk or Terry McLaurin to go get to an elite level QB, I think that'd make a lot of sense. I would love to make a move like that, my friend. Now, Back 40 TV says, starting the flex, Charbonnet, Watson, or Dotson. I think we're going to go ahead. We will be taking Jahan Dotson. Christian Watson is out, and you cannot rely on Zach Charbonnet. Please don't do it. I mean, Kenneth Walker is good to go. Anonymous says, no Christian Watson. Are we going to flex Dylan, Reed, or Mims? Thanks. So thank you, my man. And I know this sounds crazy. I will play A.J. Dillon over Jaden Reed. I don't know, maybe if we're overreacting to what we saw with the Chiefs wide receivers yesterday, but I do fully believe that's kind of going to be the situation that you're in here with the Green Bay Packers, guys. Idiot Enigma says, with Watson out, I need a flex. We have Van Jefferson, Gibson, and Dion on the bench. Already starting Dotson in my other flex, if that helps. We're going to go ahead. We will take Antonio Gibson. I understand maybe we don't want to bet on two Washington Commanders here, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's a horrendous defense. They should be able to move the ball effectively down the field against the Arizona Cardinals. And I think we can go in that direction if we really want to. Okay. Now, we do need to go ahead and refresh this, ladies and gentlemen, so I can make sure we are picking up where we left off here. Okay, our next question coming out from Steven. Thank you, my friend, who says, did you miss me? Not with that word in my man. Rate the 12-team PBR league where we have Fields, Geno, Stevenson, Dobbins, Mostert, Singletary, Warren, Tucker, Chase, St. Brown, London, Odell, Jameson, Hawkinson. Was offered Pittman for Raheem Mostert. No, I think the play here is if you want to sell Raheem Mostert, it's more so we're going to be packaging him with Jameson to get a wide receiver a tier ahead of Michael Pittman. Pittman fundamentally doesn't really do anything for this team when you add him in as like a wide receiver 4. I really do like this team. I think if you wanted to make another trade, like I said, do not be doing that one. If you wanted to look for a different trade, what we could also look at is if you wanted to package together possibly, or not even package together, if you wanted to trade London straight up for DJ Moore to get the stack with Justin Fields and make that one consolidated bet, I think that's something you could look to do. Now, Ben says 12-team non-PBR where we have Metcalf, Williams, Kirk, Rice, Juju, Isaiah Hodgins. Hell yes. Saquon, Derrick Henry, Najee. Trade recommendation. Should I trade I for a wide receiver or keep 3 running backs? No. My man, you want to build around running back. Non-PBR format, RB, RB, RB. Higher percentage of them will be the elite level scores, while at the same time, they will be more important for you to go out there and put in that flex spot. Now, Marvin coming out says, thoughts on a 12-team standard league where we have Goff at quarterback, wide receiver, we have Olave, Waddle, we have Jacobs, Taylor, Hawkinson, Swift, Thomas, Herbert, Cousins, Charbonnet, Knox, Warren. I believe Jameson Williams. I just don't love rostering Jameson Williams. Like, you're going to have such a hard time making waiver wire moves as the course of the season goes on. I would also cut Dawson Knox, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, we have TJ Hawkinson. We're going to start him every single week, regardless of matchup. I'm fine rostering both Goff and Cousins and just kind of playing the matchups between those two quarterbacks. I like the team. I just fundamentally don't like the bottom end of the roster with going with guys like Dawson Knox, Jameson Williams. I'd rather have guys that we can continue to churn at the beginning of the season and see if we can find that next player to hit off the waiver wire. And long-term, it would be nice to trade for a better quarterback, but we just can't trade for a better quarterback right now when we're waiting for Jonathan Taylor. It's a team with a lot of value, though. Now, Ant's coming out and says, PBR for the flex, London, McLaurin, Herbert, or P. Ryan. Thank you. No, thank you, my friend. And full PPR format, we'll go Drake London. If it was a non-PPR league, we would go with Khalil Herbert. Now, Caleb says 10-team full PPR. The team is Lamar, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb, Jahan Dotson, Darren Waller at tight end. We also have Christian Watson, Javonte Williams, JSN, Khalil Herbert. Thoughts and moves to look for. Okay. It's a team with a lot of depth. Would have been more exciting if we had no McLaurin playing this week, so we could have got that Dotson bump. I personally would look to see if we can still flip Darren Waller for TJ Hawkinson. I know that Waller is good to go this week, but I mean, still seeing him dealing with a hamstring does make me nervous almost regardless. If you don't want to do that, if you wanted to see if we can package like Darren Waller with a depth piece like Jackson Smith-Njigba or Khalil Herbert to go out there and get Mark Andrews to stack with Lamar Jackson, that could also be interesting. I mean, you're sitting with Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb, and Lamar, though. I mean, it's very hard for us to tell. Go through and look for any moves to look for. That's a phenomenal team. Lando says, who do you like more, Lamb or A.J. Brown? Full PPR format, I'm definitely going to go with CeeDee Lamb, my man. Now, Brady says, Lawrence, Barkley, Jacobs, Tyreek, Wilson, Higgins, Goddard. And then on the bench, we have Goff, Pierce, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, Flowers, Jonathan Taylor. Was curious if you thought I should consider any trades or keep two we have. So generally here, I'm fine rostering two quarterbacks if they're going to be Lawrence and Goff. I think we can fundamentally play the matchups. We have the top end running back production that we don't have to worry about. My man, how many teams are in this league? Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, these are both borderline round one picks. Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, these are both borderline round one picks. Higgins is great depth. Goddard's great depth. Lawrence is great depth. Phenomenal team top to bottom. If you wanted to trade Higgins for Ridley to get the Lawrence stack, I'm not going to fault you for it. But yeah, I mean, this looks like a 4-team league. If there is, more than 4 teams in that league, that is nuts, my man. DMZ coming out says, 10-team, 6-point passing touchdown format. 3 flex. We have Burrow at quarterback, Hawkinson tight end. We have Hall, Madison running back with Rashad White. Wide receiver, we have AJ, Lamb, DJ, Watson, Judy, Dotson. We have Kupp and Kyler on the IR. I actually really like having these guys on the IR. With this being a 6-point passing touchdown format, that gives a bump up to the guys that have the passing volume and a bump down to the guys that you're counting on rushing upside. So you're going to be bumping up someone like Joe Burrow, bumping up someone like Justin Herbert, and moving down what you have with like Justin Fields per se. So I actually really like having Burrow here. Would be really nice if we could go through and get a Burrow stack. I don't want to be making 2-for-1 deals in this league though. So generally, I am always looking to make 2-for-1 deals where we can in 10-team leagues because depth is going to be a little bit easier to come by. It's not going to be as important overall. However, in this league where it's going to be a 3-flex format, it'll be a much harder spot to go through and make those 2-for-1 deals. So overall, I love the team. I'm actually really not looking to make any moves since we're built around wide receiver depth already. We just really need to have Christian Watson and Cooper Kupp come back. Now, Spruce coming out says, how's my first team and should I change anything? First fantasy football team, my man. We have Mahomes at quarterback, Jacobs and Walker at RB. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Juju. Tight end, we have Pitts, and my last running back is Jamal. So you listed off Juju here twice. Jefferson here twice. It'd be really nice if we could get double the points for Justin Jefferson. I don't think we change anything, how we're looking at it on the surface. If we have Jamal Williams, we should be really excited about this team in the short term. In the long term, however, I do think you need to be a little bit worried about what his role looks like whenever you have, Kondre Miller and Alvin Kamara back in this offense. Now, Robert coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Angelic Ambition coming out says, trade Jonathan Taylor for Kenneth Walker in Dynasty if you're win now. I'm not going to fault you for that at all. Christopher says, Godwin or Kirk in a non-PPR format. We're going to go Godwin, even if Kirk's in the better offense. Dudley coming out says, 12-team full PPR league. We have Justin Herbert at quarterback. Running back, we have Kenneth Walker, Rashad White. Wide receiver, we have Chase Lamb, Luke Musgrave at tight end. We also have London, Michael Pittman Jr. And then on the bench, Flowers, Algier, P. Ryan, Anthony Richardson, Zach Charbonnet, Jaden Reed, Alec Pierce, yay or nay. I like the team. I like that we have like the Richardson Pittman stack. I'm trying to think of anything that we can do here. I think Alec Pierce is someone that's nice to roster at the beginning of the season. Because if you look at Alec Pierce, I mean, he's going to be a super easy cut if he doesn't do anything week 1. Yeah, so don't be holding on to Alec Pierce for the long term. If he doesn't do anything, cut him week 1. I'd almost say the same thing with Jaden Reed now, considering that it's like kind of like the Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore situation, where this is his time. If he's going to produce this year, probably has to be when there's nobody else in this offense. So we can churn the bottom end of our bench still here. The only thing that I would say is actually I'd probably do it right now. The reason being is if we have Luke Musgrave at tight end, well, I admit Musgrave won the preseason, won training camp, looks to be in a great spot. Fundamentally, at the end of the day, this is still a rookie tight end. This is still someone that would be extremely hard to rely upon. I mean, until we actually see him out there on the field and producing. So I would at least, at the minimum, want to roster 2 tight ends with this squad. So what I would probably be looking to do is just go out there and cut Alec Pierce right now, pick up another tight end in case Luke Musgrave isn't the guy. I don't want to be switching the starting lineup around at all. I mean, if we ever get a sell-high moment on Anthony Richardson, where if Richardson goes out there and crushes, and then we can sell Richardson and Michael Pittman for an elite level wide receiver, let's do it. But not something we need to look at now. Now, Sawyer coming out says, do I need to rework the running backs? We're in a 10-team PPR format where we have Watson and Dak at QB. Running back, we have Gibbs, Taylor, Hall, Cook, Sanders, Pirine. We have Kelsey at tight end. We have Lamb, Olave, Judy, JSN, Johnson. You're the man. No, thank you so much, my man. And obviously, short-term running back will be tough. But to be completely honest with you, I could see this working out. I could see you getting by with this. I mean, you already started Jahmyr Gibbs this week. Let's go through. Let's throw in Miles Sanders. Let's see what the role is with those running backs in New York. Let's see if we get any more news on Jonathan Taylor. I think you're good. I think we wait. I'm not going to be panicking on Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is actually a solid buy low candidate at the moment. So I think you're in a good spot. Let's wait until week 2 so we have some more information at our disposal. Now, our next question coming out from Caden says, rate the team. It's a 12-team full PPR league where we have Lawrence at quarterback. Running back, we have Pollard, Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, Devon Achane, Ty Chandler. Wide receiver, we have Ridley, London, Godwin, Addison, and Treylon Burks. We have the Lawrence Ridley stack. Love to see it. We have top-end running back production. I'm assuming we don't have to start a tight end since you don't tell us we have a tight end here. We aren't rostering too many wide receivers, and instead of the bottom end of the bench, we are focusing on running backs with the upside, like Devon Achane, Ty Chandler, if an injury were to occur in front of him. So yeah, great team. I really do like it. Now, Robert coming out says, I have Nico Collins, Rondale Moore, Gus Edwards, Jalen Warren, Alec Pierce, and Rashad Bateman. Lamar's our quarterback. Someone dropped MVS. Should I pick him up or wait on these other guys? If you wanted to drop someone for Marquez Valdes-Scantling, the drop would be Rondale Moore. The reason being is Rondale Moore has an extremely capped ceiling. I mean, I guess maybe if Hollywood Brown's injured, you see him expand his role just a bit, but ultimately at the end of the day, he's going to be the worst offense in the NFL. He's such a small wide receiver. He's never been productive at any point of his NFL career. And I liked him coming out of Purdue. I thought he was a good prospect. Trust me, I'd love Rondale Moore to be good. But I do think if you wanted to pick up Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Rondale Moore would be the drop there, my man. I do want to keep those other guys. Dan says, Watson out. Are we going to go with Khalil Herbert or George Pickens in the flex? Given the very tough matchup that you have for George Pickens against the 49ers, we will go Khalil Herbert. Augustin says, what do you think about Zach Ertz? Should I pick him up? My tight end is Tyler Conklin. If you only have Tyler Conklin at tight end, you 100% need another. Definitely roster 2 tight ends in this format. I'd be surprised if Zach Ertz was your best option. I mean, coming off a destroyed knee, don't really know he's going to be good to go. Horrendous offense. Go ahead and pick him up if you want to. Like, pick up your favorite tight end, because if your tight end is Tyler Conklin, you definitely want to. Spooky Ghost says, who should I flex between Connor and Judy for the week? Really don't want to flex Connor. Like I said, I don't want to play anybody here in Arizona, but you have the guaranteed volume where Judy's kind of a question mark, even if he is playing with the hamstring. So I will go Connor. Now, Indigo Enigma says starting Fields, we have Tua and Richardson on the bench. Should we trade Justin Fields for Jahmyr Gibbs? We're also starting Saquon, Jacobs. Hell yes. Hell yes. I'm going to be buying low on Jahmyr Gibbs. Full PPR format, Jahmyr Gibbs is still going to be the running back that has the receiving down role. Jahmyr Gibbs, still a phenomenal prospect, still an elite offensive line. We already have Tua Richardson. So yeah, let's go and let's sell Justin Fields for Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, Rich said Rachaad White or Khalil Herbert at the flex this week. I will be going with Khalil Herbert. I think it's going to be in the better offense and more touchdown upside. Big Daddy says Kmet or Musgrave. Musgrave is in a much, much better situation. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not trusting a rookie tight end, my man. So, I mean, Sam Laporta went out there and crushed it as a rookie tight end, but I'm not expecting it to be all those guys. And I mean, Laporta crushing it, still only 8.5 points. So I'm going to go with Kmet. Now, Roy coming out says, a follow-up, Sanders my number 2. Should I still look to upgrade while waiting for Brees? Also, Dulcich or Kincaid this week? I'm going to go Greg Dulcich. Like I said, with the rookie tight ends, I want to see it, and then we will start them the next week. Let them break out, and then you can start them the following week. And then I think we can wait just because Miles Sanders does have the great matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. And when we're going into week 1, it's never going to hurt to wait a week and see if we can get more information going into week 2 and make a better decision when we have that more information at our disposal. Vader coming out to start Cam Akers or Javonte this week in a full PPR format. We are going to go ahead. We're going to take a Javonte, my friend. Super encouraging reports coming out with Sean McVay saying he's going to be good to go for a full workload. I don't know if I completely buy it, but definitely more excited than I was previously. Now, Ohio coming out says Dynasty trade, JT, Devon Achane, or Etienne Burks in a third. The third doesn't matter. I would rather have Etienne over Jonathan Taylor. I'd probably rather have Burks over Devon Achane, so I'm probably going to go Etienne and Burks. Now, Ryan coming out says 10-team PPR format. We have Allen at quarterback, Kelsey at tight end. Beautiful. Running back, Jacobs, Gibbs, Montgomery, Brian Robinson, Mostert. Good at running back. Keenan, Mike Williams, Christian Watson, Evans, Sutton. This is a great, I think this is a team where it makes a lot of sense to go for Cooper Kupp, my man. We have so much depth overall. Like, we can easily afford to go out there and see if we can sell, say, I don't know. I hate to say it out loud, but if we can go like Raheem Mostert, Christian Watson, go get Cooper Kupp. Brian Robinson, Mike Evans, go get Cooper Kupp. With this being a 10-team format where we really have all the depth in the world at both RB and wide receiver, I think it makes a ton of sense to make that move if we can. Jake says Dalvin, Ayuk, or Brian Robinson at the flex. We're going to go ahead. We will be taking Brian Robinson. Still a great matchup. Ayuk still has a very bad matchup, as does Dalvin, and we have the uncertain workload for Dalvin Cook. Go Brian Robinson, my friend. Now, John says, if Kittle sits, who should I package and start for week 1 at tight end? Schultz, Juwan Johnson, or Gerald Everett, or someone else? I'm going to go Dalton Schultz. I mean, I'm not a big Schultz believer from a talent perspective, but ultimately at the end of the day, I mean, you have all the opportunity in the world there. There's not an established wide receiver 1 in that offense, not an established wide receiver 2. We know historically speaking, rookie quarterbacks may lean on the tight end position. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'll take Dalton Schultz. I don't like the game environment against Baltimore though. Josh coming out with a massive donut says, how is it, Mason? Van, Hollywood, or Gabe Davis? We got to start one. Mahalo. Well, my man, I honestly am not too excited about any of these guys. I probably go Gabe Davis, just knowing he's in the best offense. I honestly think that he is a better talent than Van Jefferson as well. Hollywood Brown in Buffalo, I think probably would actually be more productive than Gabe Davis. But, I mean, Gabe Davis has Josh Allen. Hollywood Brown has Joshua Dobbs. Hey, can everybody please let me know in the chat, do you all agree with me? Are we going to go Gabe Davis here this week? Who are you playing week 1? Are you going to go with Van Jefferson, Hollywood Brown, or Gabe Davis, ladies and gentlemen? And as I wait for y'all to let me know that in the live chat, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We are closing in on 1,000 likes on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, it is not too late. You can still find the link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And on top of it, ladies and gentlemen, with promo code FLOCK, you will also be getting the Josh Allen exclusive pick'em special, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, you're also going to get a new mystery special pick'em on Underdog Fantasy if you are new to Underdog. And also, if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, please make sure you go to the Discord, fill out the Google form. That way, I know if we can go out there and get you a hat, a shirt, whatever the hell you want, ladies and gentlemen, let me know. I know that hat looks very dirty. I should probably bring a new one in here. I mean, we have worn that hat for God knows how long. Okay, so let's pivot this back around. Our next question coming out from, I believe, Gavin says, DJ Moore or Addison at the flex. You have to go ahead and you have to play DJ Moore. I definitely like the passing offense a lot more in Minnesota. But like we were talking about with these rookies, just in general, let's wait, let's see it, and then we can start them the next week. Pete My Willie out again says, the man, the myth, of the legend was right about Sky Moore being a bust this week. Now I ask, should I start Waddle or Lockett? Thanks, big man. No, thank you so much, my dude. I think that both of them are in good matchups. I think you could have been very excited about Tyler Lockett if Jackson Smith-Njigba did not play. But now that JSN's good to go, I honestly think you kind of have to go ahead. I think you have to start Jalen Waddle. I think Waddle's like a borderline top 5 wide receiver this week. Now, Anthony coming out says, need a running back in a flex. We have James Cook, Robinson, Kirk, and Dotson. I think we're going to go both running backs. Actually, no, we're definitely going to go Brian Robinson for one of these spots. James Cook, Kirk, or Dotson is almost going to be up to you. Definitely please play Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson at running back. For the flex, I'm not going to fault you if you want to go with anybody else. I kind of want to say James Cook because you get the Monday night equity where you're able to go through and you're able to have something to look forward to on Monday night and hopefully a nice sweat overall. Now, George Strait coming out says 12-team full PBR. We have Russ at quarterback, gross. Bijan, Derrick Henry, awesome. DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, George Kittle, Gibbs. And then on the bench, we have Javonte, Christian Watson, JSN, Charbonnet, Laporta, Anthony Richardson, Bigsby. How do I fix my quarterback wide receiver? Wide receiver is going to be fine in the long term, my man. I mean, we're eventually going to get a JSN breakout. We'll have Christian Watson back and healthy. I don't really think we need to focus in on that. Really, I think the focus should be fixing quarterback. I think in the short term, we're going to go ahead. I'm actually probably going to play Anthony Richardson over Russell Wilson, even week 1. Like, let me go ahead and pull up the Underdog pick'ems that they have just to get a reasonable baseline expectation for these guys. They have Russell Wilson at 16.35 points, where they have Richardson sitting at 17.05. Yeah, so they have Anthony Richardson higher than Russell Wilson as well. If it's a 6-point passing touchdown format, actually, I think we'd probably go Russ. 4-point passing touchdown format, I think we're probably going to go with the rushing upside of Anthony Richardson. We're going to be waiting until we get either Christian Watson or Jackson Smith-Njigba back. And then at that point, we'll go ahead and we'll try to make a 2-for-1 deal where we can upgrade the quarterback position. But we're going to have to be waiting until we get that depth here. Now, Seaberg coming out says 12-team at PBR double flex. We have Josh Allen at quarterback. Running back, we have Javonte, James Cook. We have CD, AJ Brown, wide receiver, Ingram at tight end, Higgins, Godwin at the flex spots. And then on the bench, we have Jamal, Pirine, Rondale, and Mims. Any tips? I love this team. I would say go ahead, put Jamal Williams in your starting lineup over James Cook this week. I agree. I think James Cook's going to... Actually, no, we're going to go Jamal Williams over Javonte Williams. I agree Javonte and James Cook are going to be the long-term options here at RB. But I mean, until then, Jamal is just in a phenomenal situation. I will say Rondale Moore, no real upside. I would go ahead and I would look to cut Rondale, especially when we're only rostering 4 running backs here in comparison to 6 wide receivers, and wide receivers way stronger for us than running back is. I want to be actually going through and focusing on picking up as many running backs as I can on the bench, because even if we're excited about our running back room in the short term with Jamal Williams, we can't start Jamal in the long term. So we need to hopefully hit off someone off the waiver wire, right? Now, our next question coming out from Keanu says, Need starters for week 1 in a 10-team PBR double flex league. We have Lawrence, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Dotson, JSN, Hollywood, Brees Hall, J.K. Dobbins, Montgomery Pitts. Good for a dynasty team, but do I need to make a trade to not be last this year? Okay. So quarterback, we're going to go Lawrence. Wide receiver, we're going to go Garrett Wilson, Jahan Dotson. Running back, we're going to be going with J.K. Dobbins, David Montgomery. Flex, we're going to have to go, I guess, Brees Hall, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I agree with you, my man. I mean, you are in a tough spot here if you don't have the depth in a double flex league, where now that we are going to be dealing with the injuries to JSN, Hollywood Brown, and the uncertain work. I mean, Garrett Wilson. JSN's back, but I mean, you're going to have to wait for the breakout regardless. I agree. I do think that you're in a pretty damn tough spot. I don't know if we need to be making a trade immediately. I think that we're going to wait until after week 1, see going into week 2 what the injury report is with Christian Watson, seeing what the injury report is with Hollywood Brown, seeing the workload that we get with Brees Hall week 1. I do want to be on the lookout for a potential trade where we get an upgrade at wide receiver, but for now, that's not something we want to do just because we're operating with very limited information with these options. I think after this weekend, literally we wait 3 days, we're going to have so much more information at our disposal. Jay Swaggy says 10-team PBR league where we have Lamar, Adams, Olave, Moore, CMC, Connor, Kincaid, Pickens, Judy, Javonte, Anthony Richardson. Just traded Adams, Anthony Richardson, and Kincaid for Lamb and Goddard. Oh, beautiful deal. Literally, that would have been like my dream trade here. We get the upgrade from Adams to Lamb. We get the upgrade from Kincaid to Goddard. We pay a quarterback like Anthony Richardson that definitely has a lot of long-term upside, but at the same time, we don't need him because we have Lamar. I think that makes so much sense. I love that, my friend. Okay. Let me refresh this so I can put it back up on the screen for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Now, our next question coming out from Ibrahim, who says, have PBR, we need to start 1. Brian Robinson, Khalil Herbert, Jahan Dotson, Rachaad White. We're going to go Brian Robinson in a very good matchup against the Cardinals, especially now that Terry McLaurin's back and John Dotson's a little bit less appealing. Jay Swaggy said also had JT on the IR. That makes the deal even better because we were going to have to open up a raw spot for JT in a couple weeks anyway. Zinowin says, JT's still in the building. Are we expecting him sooner? He can't come back till week 5 at the minimum. It doesn't matter what JT, like what news we get with JT right now. Nothing can happen over the next few weeks that changes the fact that we're not going to have Jonathan Taylor. Firefox says 10-team at PBR league. We need to drop one of these 3, Samaji, Swift, Brandon Cooks, to pick up a backup tight end for Waller. We need some help. If we have to drop one of these options, it's Brandon Cooks. I would rather not. And if this is going to help here, my man, I mean, we did get the report that was saying that Darren Waller looks to be good to go. Yeah, Darren Waller looks like he's going to be good to go, my friend. So I understand the worry, but I don't think we have to sit here and make that move right now. That's like a Sunday morning move. Jonathan says Waller not playing. Is this up to date? I'll go ahead and I'll pull this up. I'll get the most up-to-date report here, ladies and gentlemen, but from what I saw, he was playing. Yeah, this is the report from Fowler. Giants hopeful Darren Waller will play week 1. Injury not believed to be serious. So I guess actually if they're hopeful, that means he's not getting. Okay, never mind. It looks like Waller is not guaranteed to play, but still not a move that we need to be going out there and making at the moment. We will keep it in the back of our mind. And yeah, I mean, as someone who did not draft Darren Waller really at all this offseason, because I mean, I preferred TJ Hawkinson. Although I preferred some more controversial names as well, such as Dallas Goedert, Kyle Pitts. I mean, it's kind of one of the things that I was worried about with Darren Waller. Let me see, how much Darren Waller did I draft? I'm about to have, actually, it's going to be too hard for me to find this. Well, we'll do that another day. But Brendo coming out says 12-team 1-flex league. Quarterback, we have Mahomes. Running back, we have Dalvin Jamal. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, Devonta Smith, tight end Hawkinson, Watson in the flex. On the bench, we have Dylan, Addison, Flowers, Charbonnet, Tony, Bryce Young. My man, drop Bryce Young. You don't need him when we have Mahomes. I like Young in the long term. He's not going to do anything this week, especially if we have Christian Watson injured. We're going to have to go pick up some more wide receiver depth overall. If we're going to be looking to fill in someone for Christian Watson now that he's not playing, I hate to say this, I think we may end up going AJ. No, full PBR format, we're not going to go Dylan. If it was like non-PBR, we can go Dylan. Full PBR format, we'll go Addison. Full PBR format, we'll go Addison. I'd rather not start a rookie tight end. Rookie wide receiver. But there should be a ton of passing volume overall there anyway. Okay. But now our next question coming out from Dave says, hey, Mason, pick one, Higgins, Williams, or Kirk. Love the matchup for Williams, but we are going to go Higgins. James says, thanks for being the best. Mason, no, thank you so much, my man, for being a member of the flock, coming and hanging out with us. Big Rich says, hey, Mason, Mike Williams or Walker in the flex PBR. We're going to be going with Kenneth Walker. He looks like he is good to go. Now, CB3 says 18 PBR, double flex, 4-point passing touchdown format. Herbert at quarterback. Running back, we have Jacobs, Madison. Receiver, we have Chase, Wilson. Goddard tight end, Metcalf, Amari. And then on the bench, we have Jay Williams, Godwin, Dotson, Frymuth, any trades. Ultimately, the trade that we're going to be looking to make is trying to capitalize on some of this depth wide receiver value. And no, you should start Amari over Chris Godwin, but if we could look to package, say, Godwin and Alexander Madison, or Jahan Dotson and Alexander Madison to go get you a better better running back. See if we can go up to get to like the Travis Etienne tier. If we can go buy low on Jahmyr Gibbs in a full PPR format, I think that I would like that as well. Now, Matt coming out says 12-team full PPR 1 flex. We have Justin Herbert at quarterback. Running back, we have Jacobs, Rabadre, Mostert, Deion Jackson. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, DJ, Lockett, Sutton, Flowers. Tight end, we have Waller and Laporta. Do I trade up for a wide receiver or Gibbs, or keep the team as is? So overall, I think if we can trade for Jahmyr Gibbs, it would be a really nice spot. The deal that we'd be looking to make is if we can capitalize on a really strong Raheem Mostert performance this week by potentially going out there and packaging one of our depth wide receivers, whether that's going to be DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett, or Zay Flowers, with Raheem Mostert to get up to Jahmyr Gibbs in a 1-flex format that's a full PPR league. I really like that idea, my man. If you wanted to go, say, DJ Moore and Raheem Mostert for Gibbs, DJ Moore and Lockett, DJ Moore and Sutton, really any of those moves, I think that make a lot of sense. Now, WRM, longtime member of the flock, out here saying 8-team, 2-quarterback, double flex league where we have Fields and Hurts at QB, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Calvin Ridley at wide receiver, Aaron Jones, Dobbins, RB, Ingram at tight end, DJ Debo, London, Kamara, Addison, Love, Komet, and Jonathan Taylor. Any moves? Thank you. No, thank you, my man. I mean, overall, I think in an 8-team league in particular, I would definitely way rather have a better tight end than this. But with that being said, we're really going to be kind of operating with our hands tied behind our backs right now, right? I mean, we are sitting with Jonathan Taylor on the IR. We don't have Alvin Kamara in the short term either. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we are in a very difficult position to go out there and make 2-for-1 deals to potentially upgrade the tight end spot. So as of now, I actually think that we're really not going to be looking to do anything, my friend. But once we get Kamara and Jonathan Taylor back, then at that point, if we can go ahead and take like J.K. Dobbins and Evan Ingram and go get a tight end that we really like, I think that'd make a lot of sense for an 8-team league in particular. But Drake coming out saying 14-team PBR 1 flex. We have Daniel Jones at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Chase Ridley Hopkins. Running back, we have Stevenson, Dalvin, Hall. Tight end, we have Komet. Any suggestions? 14-team league, depth's going to be much harder to come by. This team's actually is a lot better than it looks in a 14-team format. 14-team league, it makes a lot more sense to punt tight end. I would hate this in a 10-team league. I would hate this construction. I would say we went about it all backwards, but in a 14-team format, this is what we look to do. The only thing that I would say is let's make sure that we are rostering a backup quarterback, and let's make sure that we are rostering a backup tight end based off this roster construction, and at the same time, based off the guys that we have there at the very top end. Okay. Isaiah says, guys, how do the shirts fit? Do they run big or small? Okay, so this is something I probably should have said on the live stream. Thank you for asking. Okay, yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, if you are going through and if you want a shirt with the Flock giveaway, these shirts are like an athletic fit. If you are a bigger guy, I would recommend going with the larger size. With that being said, I am very, very sorry, but we are out of double XLs. I wore a large, and I don't mean to say like, oh, look at me. Well, I'm a pretty fit dude. I'm training for an Ironman, so it fits well on me. But if you don't work out, you probably want to go a size up with the shirts. So thank you for asking that, my man. Happy to give some insight there. And of course, if y'all want a hat or a shirt giveaway, if you haven't heard, we are giving these away. Make sure you go to the flockfantasy.com Discord, fill that Google form out. And also, it's not too late. If you want one of those, if you want to participate in the giveaway, make sure you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, and at the same time, you will be able to go out there and take advantage of the Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets. On top of that, you will get an additional mystery special pick'em if you are new to Underdog Fantasy. And make sure you are going ahead and taking advantage, getting yourself a shirt, getting yourself a hat. Yeah, we already sent out a bunch of shirts to everybody. Tobin saying the shirt fits great and material is awesome. Yeah, I wear my shirt literally every single day, pretty much. It's embarrassing how much I wear it. And yes, you can tell by how gross this hat is right here that I have in my hands that I wear this bad boy all the time as well. I mean, that's why I'm doing this all by hand. I mean, I've been boxing, shipping stuff for the past 8 hours today. We did like one time an automated like shipping thing where we hired a company to do it and the quality was way too low. So from here on out, I've just taken care of everything and I'm doing it all on mine. So making sure y'all getting high quality stuff here. But our next question coming out from, I believe, Drake says 14-team PPR one. No, I'm sorry. Zonowin says, if we should, what week do we grab Jameson Williams? Week 3, week 4, week 5, look to pick up Jameson. It's just very hard week 1 going into the season to pick him up because over the next 2 weeks, it's going to be so important to be making sure that you're working the waiver wire there. But phenomenal question. I love that question, my man. Now, Daily coming out says 10-team, 3 wide receiver, half PPR format. We have Lamar, Tyreek, Lamb, Olave as a keeper, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Gainwell, Goddard, Dobbins, Sky, McKinnon, Burks, Zach Charbonnet, Lazard. Should we drop Sky? Yes, you drop Sky Moore. You drop Sky Moore, I mean, for the straight up purpose that you need to send a message to everybody else on your team. Do you want to lose your locker room? Do you want that kind of player? Do you want to reward that kind of performance? If you don't, if you want to be a good fantasy football manager, if you want to send a message, you drop Sky Moore at halftime last night. Even if he was in your starting lineup, you find a way. So drop Sky Moore. I would definitely look to go ahead and pick someone up. It's a 10-team league. You have a better option off the waiver wire because at least in my mind, right, if Sky Moore goes out there and gives you nothing last week with no Travis Kelce, what has to happen for him to make a difference? Do we need an injury to Travis Kelce, then an injury to Kadarius Toney, then an injury to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, then an injury to Rashee Rice, then an injury to Justin Ross, then an injury to Richie James, and then Sky Moore's no, like if it didn't happen last night, when is it ever going to happen? You know, at least that's how I view it. Okay. Now, Danny coming out says 12-team PPR week 1. We have Lawrence at quarterback. Running back, we have Eckler, Etienne, Brown, DJ Moore, Hollywood at wide receiver, and Njoku at tight end, Flex Hall. And then on the bench, we have Kirk. Put in Kirk over Hollywood, my friend. Nico, Dobbs, Mooney, Jawan, Singletary, Damian Harris. Like the high upside running backs down there at the bottom of the bench as handcuffs. I'm fine building around the wide receiver depth a little bit more in a league where we have to start 3 wide receivers as well. I like the Lawrence Etienne stack that we have here. The only thing that I would say is put Christian Kirk into the wide receiver slot in favor of Hollywood Brown. But yes, keep Breece Hall in the flex, even if it's going to be gross at the beginning of the season. Now, Matthew coming out says Watson and Nick Chubb. Is this a bad stack? No. I mean, great offensive line. I think you can possibly expect that you get a pretty big bounce back for Deshaun Watson to see something similar like 2017, 2018. Brady says 8-team league, was surprised as, I mean, yeah, that's a 8-team league. Everybody's going to look great, but you had 4 first-round picks. Tony coming out says 10-team at PPR format. We have Fields, Bijan, Gibbs, Ramadre, DJ Moore, Godwin, Christian Watson, Andrews, Pittman, Khalil Herbert, JSN, Gibson, and Pickens. Any tips or moves? Do not panic on Gibbs. Gibbs will be just fine. We have the running back depth here as well. I mean, we're going to be waiting for Christian Watson to come back. It's a 10-team league where we can fill in with Michael Pittman in the short term. If we can go approach like the Jonathan Taylor team and we go, hey, man, we'll give you Khalil Herbert and George Pickens, give me a wide receiver upgrade, or I'll give you a Khalil Herbert and Justin Fields, give me Lamar Jackson to stack with Mark Andrews. I would look to do that just because we have so much running back wide receiver depth. 10-team league. We can afford it. Really, the only injury we're dealing with right now is Christian Watson. Drew says 10-team. Should we trade Kelsey and Evans for Chase and Goddard? I was so prepared to tell you no. I was so prepared to say, oh, no, you can't trade Travis Kelsey. Don't sell him low. This is a good price for Travis Kelsey, right? Getting back Jamar, Chase, and Goddard. I'd probably rather have Goddard over Evans. Probably rather have Chase over Kelsey, even if Kelsey was 100%. Mike says, should I still try to trade Laporta for a tight end? I actually think Laporta looked great last night, and I'm going to take a massive L on that. I said Laporta going into the game was not startable and that we did not want to start a rookie tight end until we saw the production. He went out there. He had like 8.9 points. He looked good while doing it. I think you can start Sam Laporta going forward. Now, Blaze Canuck coming out and says 12-team PPR format. We have Geno, Tua at quarterback to play matchups. Go Tua this week. Running back, we have Sanders, Javonte, Deion, Gross. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, Devonta Smith, Dodson, London, Andrews. Would you trade Tua and Tyreek for Lamar and Hopkins? Hell to the no. No, we can't. The points per game drop that you'd be getting from Tyreek to Hopkins is going to outweigh the points per game gain that you're going to get going from Tua to Lamar. I definitely like the idea of going and upgrading quarterback here. But, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you'll be able to get by with playing the matchups between Tua and Geno. Royer says 10-team non-PPR, Higgins and Cook for A.J. Brown. I think we have to. If it's a 10-team league, let's send it. Especially in a non-PPR format where A.J. Brown has an insane ceiling when it comes to touchdowns. That's what we look for in a non-PPR league. Big Rich coming out says 12-team PPR format where we have Deshaun Watson and Pickett at QB. Running back, we have Chubb, Dalvin, Hall, Gibson, Devon Achane. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, Olave, Devonta Smith, Mike Evans, Elijah Moore. Tight end, David Njoku, Dalton Schultz. What are your thoughts? Don't love having both 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. I think you can get away with it based off the rest of this roster. I mean, we're in a good spot at running back with Breece and the Jets, guys. We're well balanced. We have elite level wide receivers at the top as well. I don't love our QB and tight end situation, but I think for the value we got wide receiver and running back, it makes sense to do what we did. And from here, I don't really think that we're going to be making too many moves. Unless we get like a perfect sell high moment on someone like Kenny Pickett, where we can then sell like Pickett and I don't know, like Devonta Smith and go get an elite level wide receiver. But until then, we're going to be sitting still. Okay, now our next switch coming out from the Fantastic Visionary says, hey, Mason, love the content and work ethic. Thank you, my man. I hope you and your family are good, but Super Bowl predictions, I have the Eagles versus Bengals. Don't hold out on me. No, my man, thank you so much. And yes, we're doing great. I'm a little bit tired just because we've streamed for like 40 plus hours this week. It is putting a beat down. Like I'd imagine like video game streamers, it's easy because you're sitting here playing a video game. Me, I have to just be talking constantly, so it's so damn hard. At least I want to believe it's hard. Obviously, it's probably 10 times easier than everybody else's job here. But anyway, I agree. I think the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. I think they have the easiest path. I think the Eagles would be my favorite team to win the Super Bowl this year. And if we're going to the AFC, I hate to do it. If I couldn't pick like a popular option or like a super popular option, right? If I'm not picking the Chiefs, if I'm not picking like the Bengals, my dark horse is going to actually be the Los Angeles Chargers. I wasn't in on the Chargers last year, but I thought that everybody was just maybe a year too early. You still have Herbert on a good deal. You were still able to build the team around him. You add in Quentin Johnston. You should have a healthy Mike Williams, a healthy Keenan. Hopefully you're healthier overall with the defense as well. So I'm going to go Chargers, Eagles, Super Bowl. Eagles win. Okay. Now, Andre coming out says, 10-team, 5-point passing touchdown. Double flex. We have Allen, Etienne, Ramondre, Tyreek, A.J. Brown, Hawkinson, Lockett, Kirk. The bench, Jeff Wilson, Hollywood, Gibson, Collins, Bateman, Penny. Any trades? Double flex league. I actually really like this team. We're built a little bit more around wide receiver. I actually don't see any trades. I really like what we have at the very top end, unless you wanted to send, like, if we could trade A.J. Brown in a very small piece, like Rashad Bateman, Nico Collins, and we could go and get Stephon Diggs. I think that would be a great spot. If we could go A.J. Brown in a small piece, get Diggs to stack up with Josh Allen. Outside of that, I really like the team. I will say you can't have Jeff Wilson on your roster if he's on your bench. The only way that you can have Jeff Wilson if instead this is a running back that's on your IR. Now, Blue Line says Brian Robinson or Deion Jackson, they'll flex, keep it up. Thank you, my man. I think Deion could be the starting running back in Indy. He could have a large role, but I'm going to go Brian Robinson until we see it. Robinson has a great matchup. Matthew says Sanders or Williams in the flex week 1. If it's going to be a full PBR format, I'm probably going to end up going ahead and taking Mike Williams, just given the great matchup that he has. I mean, it should be such a high scoring game for a full PPR format. Now, Sawyer coming out says, I effed up big time. Please help. We have Dak and Goff, Etienne, Walker, Taylor, Mostert, Dillon, McKinnon, Kupp, Hopkins, Mike Williams, Mooney, Dobbs, and Kittle. Yeah, so in general, I actually really do like taking a shot on Jonathan Taylor, taking a shot on Cooper Kupp, and saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to take a player in the middle rounds here that could give me an absolute dud, but at the same time, he could win me my league. Personally, I like playing fantasy football that way. Now, with that being said, considering the fact that we have both of them on our roster, we have to look to sell one of these guys. You can't afford to take a shot on both of these players at the same time. I think the ultimate play is you have to look to sell Kupp at a loss. You probably look to sell Kupp for anybody in the tier of Olave Waddle. That would be preferable. If we had to go down to the tier of T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Devonta Smith, let's do it. I mean, I wouldn't say that if you didn't have Taylor as well, but getting by with both Taylor and Kupp is going to be a really hard thing to do, my man. I think we probably just have to cut our losses there to stay competitive. Now, Pete My Willie, always out here, coming out says, I just got Justin Herbert, Nick Chubb, Dameon Pierce, Diggs, Lockett, Hawkinson, Waddle, Garrett Wilson, Jamal, Kincaid, Hall, Gibson, Deion Hunt. Should we look to trade Garrett Wilson and Pierce for Place and Aaron Jones? My man, can you please let me know in the live chat? Please don't feel like you have to donate. I'm looking at the live chat right now to get your answer on this. I do want to give you a massive thank you. Thank you for always being out here with us in these live streams. Let me know who you mean by place. Let me know who you mean by place. And as we wait for Pete My Willie to come out here and fix his autocorrect, make sure you drop a like on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Have we hit 1,000 likes on the stream yet? No, we have not. We are less than 50 likes away, though. So please make sure you go down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We streamed every day for 133 days in a row. And also, if you want to get a Flock Fantasy hat, make sure you go and fill out the giveaway form in the Discord. And on top of that, if you want to qualify that, it's not too late. You can still sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. Match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. You'll get our 2023 rankings. So get a free trial of theflockfantasy.com. Promo code FLOCK. You're also going to get a Josh Allen exclusive pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard Monday night against the Jets. You'll get an additional mystery special pick'em on top of the Allen one, plus the 100% deposit match with promo code FLOCK. Only going to get all three with code FLOCK, but make sure you take advantage of that while you still can. And did we get clarity on who Place was? We did not. Pete My Willie, please let me know again. And everybody in the chat, if you see Pete My Willie, tell us who he meant by Place. Can y'all please spam the chat so I make sure I don't miss this and we end up going back to it? I would hate to miss this question. Now, Johnny coming out says, 12-team Happy BR League. We have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Running back, we have Mixon, Aaron Jones. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Hopkins, Kincaid at tight end, Connor in the flex. And then on the bench, we have Khalil Herbert, John Dotson, Gabe Davis, Mingo, JSN, Kadarius Toney. Any starter changes? I would start Khalil Herbert over James Conner at this point. If Hollywood Brown misses, James Conner is literally just not startable. It looks like Hollywood would miss. So if that happens, put Khalil Herbert over James Conner. If Hollywood plays, we can still keep it with Conner. I mean, just if Hollywood misses, this is going to be the worst offense the NFL's ever seen. Obviously an exaggeration, but still. And then on the bench, we have Herbert, Dotson. I'm sorry. And then should we trade Devonta Smith for the stack and wait to see what happens with our bench wide receivers? Oh, yeah, if we can go ahead, if we could sell, say, DeAndre Hopkins and someone like John Dotson and go get Devonta Smith and stack Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith because it's a league with only one flex, I'd really like that, my friend. Now, Ryan out again says, would you do a 2-for-1 for Cooper Kupp? Thanks. Let's go ahead and let's pull up Ryan's team and league settings one more time. It's going to be the 10-team league where we have Allen Kelsey. Wide receiver, we are currently sitting with Keenan, Williams, Watson, Evans. If the two wide receivers were like Watson and Sutton, Evans and Sutton, Watson and Evans, yes. Yes, we will, especially if it's going to be a league with only one flex spot. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Certified Cam says, Superflex 12-team PPR format where we have Hurts, Tua, Barkley, Montgomery, Higgins, Watson, Kirk, Hawkinson, Dotson, Bigsby, Mingo, Mims, Reed, W. Johnson. Who's W. Johnson, ladies and gentlemen? McKinnon and Zach Charbonnet. I like the team at the very top. I mean, I love having Hurts and Tua in a super flex league. I would trade T. Higgins for Devonta Smith to get the stack with Hurts if we can. I love having Hawkinson here as well. My fundamental issue with the team is going to be a short-term issue. Maybe it's solved in the long term. But when we have this many rookie wide receivers down on the bench, it's going to be very difficult for us to navigate the waiver wire early on in the season, right? Because whenever we're going to be looking at what we have with these bottom end options on the bench, we know these rookies, we're not rostering to be productive right away. We don't think they're going to have massive roles week one. So generally, we don't want to be dropping them after week one, right? Even if they don't show anything. So we're going to be holding on to Jonathan Mingo, Tank Bigsby, Marvin Mims, Jaden Reed, Zach Charbonnet for an undisclosed amount of time. And people in the chat, okay, Certified Cam saying it is Quentin Johnson as well. So added on a sixth rookie. I love my man going through and taking shots on rookie wide receivers, rookie running backs down there on the bottom end of the bench that have maybe lower floors but higher ceilings overall. I mean, in general, I think it's a great thing to do. But my fundamental issue with it is when we have 6 of these rookies making up our entire bench, it's going to be very difficult to find any realistic depth in the short term. And it's going to be also very difficult for us to make any waiver wire moves in the short term when we don't want to give up on these guys early on. So I like the team as long as we look at guys like Jaden Reed, Marvin Mims, and Jonathan Mingo as expendable wide receivers. If we roster them and they do something for us week one, cool. If they flash and we go, okay, they have talent, they're going to be something awesome, then we can hold on to them. But if DJ Chark misses and Jonathan Mingo doesn't even get on the field, if Terrace Marshall's playing over him, you cut him immediately, move on to another option on the waiver wire. If Judy misses, Marvin Mims doesn't get on the field, you cut him immediately, move on to another option on the waiver wire. So as long as you're willing to maybe cut bait a little bit too early on one of these rookies, that way we can still make moves on waivers, I think we're fine. And we can kind of get away with it, right? Because, I mean, we don't have to deal with any of those injuries at the top. It's not like we have JT or Cooper Kupp. Now, Lando coming out says 12-team full BBR for the flex. We have Tua at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Lamb, Mike Williams. Running back, we have Eckler, Pollard. We have Goddard at tight end, flex Cam Akers. And then on the bench, we have Anthony Richardson, Michael Pittman, Brandon Cooks, Burks, Hunt, Sean Tucker, Noah Fant. Any upgrades and start-sit decisions. We're going to be keeping the starting lineup as is. Now, ultimately, if we do get one of these players on the bench breaking out with either Treylon Burks or Brandon Cooks, where we feel a little bit more comfortable about our overall depth, I would love to take one of those players with Cam Akers and see if we can get an upgrade in the flex. I am very worried about Cam Akers and how bad this overall offense is for the Los Angeles Rams. Now, with that being said, we are going to have to wait until we get one of those breakouts. And similar to what we were just talking about previously, these bottom end options on the bench, I'm completely fine rostering. But if we see the role for Noah Fant, we see the role for Sean Tucker, and hell, with Kareem Hunt, if he's not signed by Sunday, we go ahead and we just cut these guys. We move on. Be willing to trim the bottom end of this bench. I think those wide receivers on the bench are going to be good enough where we just keep them no matter what, but be churning those running backs and that backup tight end option constantly down there on the bench. But great team. I mean, we freaking have Lamb, Eckler, Pollard all together. I didn't even know how that happens. Quick side note, because I guess we have Lamb and Pollard on the same squad, I would be interested to see if we could trade like 2 for Dak and just make one consolidated bet on the Dallas Cowboys offense. So it will lower our floor, but it'll also raise our ceiling, which is generally something I'm trying to do in fantasy. Now, our next question coming out from Sneakerhead says, hey, Mason, would you rather trade Waller and Ayuk for A.J. Brown and Zach Ertz? I have Jalen Hurts as my quarterback, Tyler Higbee as my backup tight end. So I would way rather have A.J. Brown over Darren Waller and Brandon Ayuk, regardless of if we were getting a second piece, regardless of if we had Higbee as a backup tight end, or regardless of if we had Jalen Hurts as our quarterback. But having all those other factors make it an even better deal. Hell yes, let's go get A.J. Brown. I mean, y'all know we were going through, and y'all know we've been saying to go ahead and see if you can sell Darren Waller while you can. Marty says, Christian Watson is listed as out. Pick 2 guys to start at my wide receiver slots, Judy, Williams, or Mike Evans. We're going to go Mike Williams and Mike Evans, my man. Super easy call. With Judy, I know he's going to play, but he's still dealing with a hamstring in a very bad offense. Michael says, hey, Mason, happy BR1 flex. Need some advice for our flex start. Our options are Breece, Thomas, Addison, and Tyler Boyd. We're going to go ahead. We will play Breece Hall, my man. I understand a lot of people are worried about Hall, and honestly should be, right? But with that being said, I mean, at the end of the day, these other options are a rookie wide receiver, a wide receiver with severely capped ceiling with Tyler Boyd, and a wide receiver we haven't seen be productive since 2019. So even if I'm not super pumped about it, I will go ahead and I will start Breece Hall here. Steven says, Roshan or Tank as a stash. Please be Longhorns neutral. Hey, Tank Bigsby over Roshan. Roshan has to deal with Deonta Foreman too, and he's in a worse offense overall. FFL coming out to start Wilson or Olave and start Waller or Higbee. If Waller's going to go, you go Waller, and we are going to be going Garrett Wilson over Olave, but how the hell is that our decision there? I mean, those are elite level wide receivers. Let's move this over, and Duke saying Kadarius Toney just got cut. Let me see if this is true. Let's see if this is true, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing from the Underdog Twitter. I saw a couple troll accounts tweeting this out earlier today. Hopefully you're not getting sucked into one of those troll accounts. Yeah, I don't really see anything there. Y'all see anything? Zach says, bro got ball sack sported. Yeah, I mean, my man. Dude, you got trolled here, my man. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us here. But I just came up with a good tweet. Okay, so now our next question coming out from, I believe, Mike, who says, Mason, 12-team PPR, 1 flex. We have Josh Allen at quarterback, Tyreek Adams, wide receiver, Connor, Javonte, running back, Pittman at the flex, Mostert, Jamal, JSN, Carr, Komet, JT on the IR, any ways to get better. This is a team that with this much running back depth, I would love to go through and I would love to see if we get it packaged together, say like Raheem Mostert and James Conner go get an upgrade at RB, or Jamal Williams and Javonte Williams go get an upgrade at RB. It's a league with only 1 flex. We have 4 starting running backs. We have JT coming back in the long term. I think that would be very interesting. I would cut Derek Carr for a high upside wide receiver or running back off the waiver wire. And also, quick side note, make sure you are benching both Connor and Javonte this week for those running backs that you currently have on your bench. Now, Back 40 TV says, start in the flex, Charbonnet, James Cook, or Dotson. Can I ask y'all in the live chat? I think this is super close, right? Kenneth Walker's going to play, ladies and gentlemen. So, Zach Charbonnet's not in play. But would you rather have James Cook or Jahan Dotson? James Cook or Jahan Dotson? Dotson. Yeah, so people are still going Dotson even with McLaurin back in. All-Star says, Mason, you're really down on Charbonnet. I drafted a ton of Charbonnet, my man. Just, he's not startable over these other, he's a backup running back. I mean, what are we doing starting a backup running back in their first career game ever when the starting running back in front of him is good to go? Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Caesar says, how to auto draft? Can I turn this team around? We have Dak, Bijan, Chubb. Oh, my man. GG to the rest of your league. We have Bijan, Chubb, ETN, Pitts, Laga, DK. The bench, we have Dotson, Herbert, Sky. Drop Sky, go pick up someone else. Package together Khalil Herbert and a wide receiver like Lockett. Go get an upgrade at wide receiver. But having Bijan, Chubb, ETN on your league, you need to give a massive thank you to whatever AI drafted your fantasy football team and tell them you appreciate them. Tell you appreciate them. Now, Greg coming out says, 10 TPBR, 6-point passing touchdown, double flex. We have Tua at quarterback. Running back, we have Bijan, Pollard, Garrett Wilson, Ridley at wide receiver, Hockenson at tight end, Javonte and Evans. Bench is Rodgers, Thomas, Laporta, Van, Taylor. Any lineup changes? Thanks, brother. No, thank you so much, my man, for being a member of the flock. So, I mean, I am fine with us going through and rostering 2 quarterbacks here and really playing the matchups between Tua and Aaron Rodgers. I definitely think that this week in particular, Tua has a much, much better matchup against the Chargers. If we were looking to get someone out of our starting lineup, the worst starting lineup option we have this week is Javonte Williams. But the best bench option that we have this week is either Michael Thomas or Van Jefferson. And I would definitely prefer Javonte Williams over those guys. In terms of going through and making any trades with this team, would be nice to have a little bit more running back depth in the short term, but honestly, we probably don't need it. When we have Bijan, we have Pollard, I mean, we have Garrett Wilson. This is a great, great team, my man. 6-point passing touchdown format as well. I think you can kind of go with these cheaper guys that aren't going to run the ball, but can possibly lead the NFL or be at the top of the NFL in passing touchdowns. Now, Mason coming out says, 10-team, 1 quarterback, happy BR Dynasty lineup. We have Jalen Hurts at QB. Running back, we have Bijan, Hall. Wide receiver, we have Chase, JSN. On the bench, we have Gibbs, Judy, Johnston. Pitts at tight ends. Do you think I'll compete this season, or is the team too young? This will be a team that 100% improves as the year goes on. If you're worried about the team actually, no. My man, this is a good team. Dynasty, this is freaking nuts. Because if we think about this, Dynasty, redraft. Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, both these guys were round 1 selections. Jalen Hurts was a borderline round 2, round 3 selection. Jahmyr Gibbs was a round 3, round 4 selection. Breece Hall was a round 5 selection. Judy, round 6. Jason, your team is better than most redraft teams. It's Dynasty, and we are still having guys that are going to continue to expand their value as the season goes on. So you're in a situation, my friend, that I think you have so much flexibility. We look to compete this year. And now, if it doesn't work out, who the hell cares? All these guys, or the majority of these players, will continue to increase in value going into the next offseason. The only guy that's not, highly likely with is like Breece Hall. Like Breece Hall is like the most win now, quote unquote, asset we have on that team. Now, Dante coming out says 12 team at BBR, 3 wide receivers, no flex. 6-point passing touchdown. Herbert definitely gets a bump there. Montgomery, Dobbins, Sanders, Pierce, Jefferson, Waddle, Ridley, JSN, Elijah Moore, Kincaid, Luke Musgrave. Any moves? I don't love having both rookie tight ends here, but at least we get to see what they're going to do week 1. We'll get some clarity. We have 3 guys that can be wide receiver 1s. We have a high upside guy for the long term. The only thing that I would potentially say is if we can find someone to value David Montgomery as an RB1 this season. And Montgomery is running behind an elite offensive line, great situation, will have a pretty large role. Not saying you need to sell David Montgomery, but it would be interesting to see what kind of price point we could get if we decided to sell David Montgomery. And if we could get to TJ Hawkinson, let's send it. If we could get to Darren Waller, let's send it. Even if that means we need to package Montgomery with one of these rookie tight ends, just because we do have 4 startable RBs here and we have no flex. Now, Brindo coming out and says 10-team, 1 flex league. Quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts. Running back, we have CMC Montgomery. Wide receiver, we have St. Brown, Evans. We have Pitts at tight end, Pierce at the flex. And then on the bench, Watson, Kirk, Addison, Jamal, Charbonnet, Laporta, Goff. What are your thoughts? Thanks, man. No, thank you, my man. Now, I will say, long-term, great team. It would be interesting to see if we can go ahead and sell Jared Goff whenever we have Jalen Hurts. We're going to start him every single week, regardless of matchup. Second thing is, this isn't a long-term roster construction thing. I think really the construction's great. I would just prefer to go through and start Jamal Williams over Dameon Pierce this week, considering Jamal Williams having every single touch in this backfield to himself, whereas with Dameon Pierce, it's very hard to know what we're going to get. It's such a tough matchup going up against the Baltimore Ravens for that game environment. Now, John coming out says, hey, Mason, 8-team, 6-point passing touchdown format where we can start up to 5 wide receivers. This is the format you need in an 8-team league. Quarterback, we have Hurts. Running back, we have James Cook, J.K. Dobbins, Javonte Swift. Tight end, we have Hawkinson. This is exactly what we want. Adams, Lamb, Olave, Ridley, Godwin. This would be a horrible team, and this would be a team that we need to make massive changes if it was a start 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. If we were to build around this wide receiver depth, I'd have been sitting here going, my man, we went about this backwards. We're in a very difficult situation. No. In a league where you can start at the 5 wide receivers on a week-to-week perspective, you are in a very good spot here. I don't really think that we are looking to do anything from this point. I will say as a quick side note, Jalen Hurts was my QB1 going into this season, but in a 6-point passing touchdown format, if we can buy low on Patrick Mahomes after week 1 and sell Jalen Hurts for Mahomes after week 1, would potentially be interesting. But obviously, we need the Jalen Hurts points this week first. Maddie says, Montgomery, McLaurin for Amari and Gibbs. Full PPR format, hell yes. I'd rather have Amari over McLaurin. I'd rather have Gibbs over Montgomery, full PPR league. Samuel says, 12-team PPR league. We have Josh Allen at quarterback. Running back, we have Barkley, Gibbs. Wide receiver, we have Diggs, Godwin. We have Njoku at tight end, Judy, JSN, Dobbs, JT, and a bunch of handcuffs. What are your thoughts? I think it's a team that has a lot of upside. We have Allen stacked with Stephon Diggs. We have 2 potential long-term RB1s. But in the short term, it's going to struggle. In the short term, we're going to be waiting for Jonathan Taylor. In the short term, we don't know when we are going to be getting a JSN breakout, and we don't know how healthy Judy is with the hamstring. So I think it's a good team. There aren't really too many changes that we're looking to make. We're really just trying to see if we can stay alive, right? I mean, and start off the season 2-2. Now, Cedric coming out saying, 12-team BBR format. We have Herbert, Etienne, Walker, Hill, AJ, Goddard, Kirk. What are the moves to make? Very hard to know without seeing the actual bench here, my friend. I will say like a small move that we could look to make is if we could go ahead and package together, say like Christian Kirk and, I'm sorry, not even package together. If we can go sell Christian Kirk straight up for Mike Williams and make a consolidated bet on this Los Angeles Chargers passing offense with Herbert and Williams, I think that'd be interesting, but hard to know without the bench. Now, Jackson coming out says, 12-team full BBR trade offer. We receive Fields and Olave in exchange for Etienne and Williams. I'd rather have Etienne over Fields. Way rather have Olave over Mike Williams. Tua is our current quarterback. Means that I have to start Brian Robinson at RB. I personally would rather have Etienne and Mike Williams. If we could go Brian Robinson, Mike Williams for Justin Fields, no brainer. No brainer. Or how about this? Let's counter Brian Robinson, Mike Williams, and Tua for Justin Fields and Olave. If somehow we can pull that off, that would be beautiful. I would rather keep Etienne if we can. Now, Austin says 12-team happy BR. We have Dak, Hill, Adams, Stevenson, Gibbs, Ingram, Metcalf, Miles Sanders, Dotson, Johnson. Where should we try to upgrade the roster? So we have 2 elite wide receiver ones. We have the long-term upside at RB. We have the depth to play right now with Miles Sanders. If it's a one flex league, I think we have the depth at wide receiver as well with Dotson as our wide receiver 4 behind truly elite level options to potentially package together, say Dotson and Evan Ingram to see if we can get up to TJ Hawkinson. But that's not something we have to do right now. Adam says, what did you think of the Lions? Lions look great. I mean, y'all know I have not been ready to come out here and say the Lions are winning a playoff game. The Lions are winning the Super Bowl like everybody else has been all offseason. I mean, so we've been talking down on the Lions saying they're a little bit overrated, but no, they've looked phenomenal. Now, let me go ahead and let me get this pulled out. And as we do this, make sure if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you were not here earlier, if you want a Flock fantasy hat, I've been spending the last 8 hours of my day going through and getting those boxed up. We have hundreds of hats to give away, hundreds of shirts to give away. I mean, probably not that many, probably 100 shirts, hundreds of hats. But go fill out the Google form in the Discord if you want a shirt or a hat. If you signed up to Underdog, if you're a member of flockfantasy.com, go ahead, fill that out. I want to get y'all, I need to get back to y'all. I have to. And of course, if you want one, it's not too late. You can still sign up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK. That's where all these pick'ems are. If you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $200. Plus, you're going to get our 2023 rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And on top of that, you'll get an exclusive Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the New York Jets. You'll get an additional mystery special pick'em on top of that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I've never seen Underdog have 2 specials the same week, so please make sure y'all are taking advantage. TJ says, who's the handsome lad model in the tee? What's actually really, really cool about this, my man, is we were able to call in Brad Pitt to model the t-shirt for us here. I know, don't ask how we afforded it. Just don't ask where the super chat money is going. It may or may not be going to get Brad Pitt to come out here and model our t-shirts for the giveaway. But let's pull this back around, come and find our next question. This next one coming out from, I believe, Fader says, 12-team first year of a dynasty. We have Josh Allen, Kenneth Walker, Javonte St. Brown, Gabe Davis, Brandon Cooks, Higbee, Monty, Russ. And then on the bench, Hooker, Levis, Eric Gray, Jamal, Izzy, Mike. Okay, here's the fundamental issue that we have with this team. I think this is a contending team. I think this is a strong team in Dynasty, and we are going to look to contend this year. But I have noticed this with a lot of people getting into Dynasty fantasy football as of late. And if you don't know, Dynasty is my specialty. That's what I started on YouTube as. I played Dynasty fantasy football 20+ leagues a year since 2014. What I find is when people first get into Dynasty, they go through and they look at rookies coming in that are drafted on day 3, like these 4th, 5th, 6th round rookies. Someone like Izzy, someone like Eric Gray, someone like, say Michael Wilson. And they go, okay, yeah, these guys are going to be great. I just need to give them a couple of years. 2-3 years down the road, these are going to be the guys. 2 to 3 years down the road, Izzy's most likely he's not going to be in the NFL. Eric Gray is not going to be in the NFL. Michael Wilson's not going to be in the NFL. Like, that's the most likely case with these rookies that go day 3 of the NFL draft. So let's make sure that we're not counting on these players. Let's make sure that we're not rostering too many of these guys at the bottom end of our team. But outside of that, I do really like it, my friend. Now, Unknown says pick 2, P. Ryan, Gabe Davis, Sutton, and Breece Hall. I think we're going to go with Gabe Davis and Breece Hall now that Jerry Jeudy's playing. If Jerry Jeudy was not playing, Sutton would be a must-start guy. Eli says start 3, Odell, Zay, Samuel, Kendrick Bourne, Jaden Reed, Hook'em Horns, Texas money line. Thanks, Mason. Hook'em Horns. I actually want to look up what is the spread against Alabama. Zay Jones will be a must-start guy out of these options. Would have been nice if we could go Curtis Samuel if you wouldn't have had Terry McLaurin. I think we go Jaden Reed. I don't want to say it out loud on the live stream because I think most people starting Jaden Reed over guys like Chris Godwin are going to be in a world of pain. Go Zay, Reed, and Odell. Let's send it. Let's go Odell Beckham Jr. here, my man. I mean, in the majority of cases, I don't want to be starting someone like Odell, but I think we kind of have to. Now, the Longhorns are only 7-point dogs at Alabama. I actually figured we would be way worse off than that. Way worse off. Eli says, I'm sorry, Unknown G says, would you trade Adams and DK for JT and Tyreek? I most likely would. Most likely would. Now, Abdu Rahman coming out. Thank you, my man, for clarifying. Wanted to make sure we weren't butchering it all season, but saying I traded Aaron Jones and Amari for Kelsey. Phenomenal. 10-team league where we already had Allen, Tyreek, A.J. Brown. Now we have Kelsey. We have Madison, Khalil Herbert, Gabe Davis, Hopkins, hoping Hall saves our running back depth. I understand running back depth is trash, but this is an absurd team. Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, round 1 picks. Travis Kelce, round 1 pick. Josh Allen, round 2, round 3 pick. Yeah, just roster as many running backs as we can down there on the bench, my man, and hope that one of these guys hit. That is a great trade. Josh coming out says, in a league where we can start up to 5 wide receivers, 10-team format, we have Watson at quarterback with Anthony Richardson. Running back, we have JT Stevenson, Montgomery, looking better now. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek, Lamb, Ridley, Ayuk, Godwin. Perfect. Literally, this is like the worst team you'd ever want to see in a 10-team league where you only start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. But in a league where we can start up to 5 wide receivers, rolling out Tyreek, Lamb, Ridley, Ayuk, and Godwin every single week makes so much sense. We get saved with David Montgomery, where Montgomery looks like he'll be able to cover us until JT comes back in. Love the team. Now, Pete My Willie out again says Garrett Wilson and Pierce for Olave and Aaron Jones. Okay, this was, I'm assuming you play was supposed to be. I'm very sorry, my man, that we weren't able to get to this earlier. So, Garrett Wilson and Pierce to Olave, Aaron Jones. Honestly, your roster doesn't really impact anything here for us. I think that it almost comes down to your personal preference. I would rather have Garrett Wilson and Dameon Pierce. I'll say this week, it's going to look like an idiotic call. Because this week, Aaron Jones will crush. Nobody's healthy to catch the ball in Green Bay. Aaron Jones probably going to have 11 targets. This week, Dameon Pierce is going to be garbage. He's a 10-point dog against the Baltimore Ravens. Can y'all please let me know in the live chat, though, who would you rather have rest of season? Would you rather have Garrett Wilson and Dameon Pierce or Chris Olave and Aaron Jones? Please help Willie out. I mean, Willie, Pete My Willie, that is. A long time member of the flock. Please help him out. Now, a Hall coming out says, no Watson this week. Jamal, John Dotson, London, pick 2. I'm going to go Jamal and Drake London, given the fact that Terry McLaurin looks like he's good to go. I will be going London over Dotson with McLaurin good to play this week. Okay. Yeah, looks like most people are saying Wilson and the Jets with us here. Now, our next switch coming up from at Austin, who says traded JT, Addison, Burks, Hall for James Cook, DJ Moore, Kenneth Walker. Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, lateral move / upgrade. Burks to DJ Moore, upgrade. JT, Addison to James Cooks, tough. We have Jefferson, Andrews, Fields, Lockett to start with the trade acquisitions. What are your thoughts? It is so hard to know how this deal is going to turn out. I think we gave up all the long-term upside for the short-term production. I think that this trade's going to look very good over the next few weeks. But when we get to week 6, if Brees Hall is breaking out, if Jonathan Taylor's back and Jonathan Taylor is in RB1, you may be in a spot where you are very much regretting making this move, my friend. Okay. And we are going to have to go through and pull this back up, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I can probably find it here. We're not that far back at all on donations right now. Dizzy says 18 PPR format. We need one flex. Deontay, McLaurin, or Dobbins. Have to go with Dobbins, my man. Great matchup for Dobbins. C. Jason says, should I trade Kirk and Lockett for Amari in a full PPR format? If it's going to be a league with only one flex spot, yes, I like it. Impress says 10-team league with only one flex. We have Herbert, Hill, Higgins, Etienne, Pollard, Hawkins, and Pacheco. On the bench, we have Lockett, Rashad, Jamal, Goff, Singletary. I would have loved to start Jamal over Isaiah Pacheco. Long-term, I think you're in a great spot. Long-term, really, there aren't too many moves to be made. If we could trade like Lockett for Mike Williams or Keenan Allen to get the stack with Herbert, I think that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, no, long-term, you're great. Waxy says 10-team PPR format. We have Lawrence at QB. Running back, we have Jacobs, Brian Robinson. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Amari, Olave. Tight end, we have Waller. And then on the bench, we have McLaurin, Sutton, Javonte, Frymuth. Any suggestions? I don't want to be changing anything in the starting lineup outside of if Waller misses. Obviously, we have to start Frymuth. Will be a tough matchup. If we trade Amari for Ridley, considering the fact that we have Lawrence here, that makes sense. And once McLaurin is fully healthy, if we could potentially look to package together, say, McLaurin and Brian Robinson and get an upgrade at running back 2, I think that'd be awesome as well. Awesome Kitty Ninja, long-time member of the flock, coming out, says, Lamar, Diggs, Lockett, Ramondre, P. Ryan, Dalton, and Rashad White. The bench is Taylor, Kelsey, Evans, Dotson, Gallup. Full PPR, any moves. I mean, long-term, great team with Kelsey. Short-term, it's going to probably be a world of pain this week. I would say we're going to go ahead and we are going to be moving Rashad White over Samaje Perine at running back 2. And I'm going to be putting Mike Evans over Samaje Perine at the flex / so essentially, take out Samaje Perine, put in Mike Evans. We're waiting for Taylor and Kelsey to come back, but should be a good team. Andrew says, would you trade Lawrence and Ridley for Hurts and Lockett? Yes, I would. My other wide receivers are Adams, Michael Thomas, Fox. We're not great at wide receiver, but 4-point passing touchdown. I think that the gap between Hurts and Lawrence is a larger gap than Lockett and Ridley. 6-point pass touchdown format. Lawrence actually kind of closes the gap with Hurts. Barter says, horns up for Bijan. Hell yes. Dobbins, White, Barkley, pick 2 for Sunday. Cheers, Mason. No, cheers, my man. Good luck. We are going to go ahead. We're going to be going Barkley and Dobbins here. Dobbins, great matchup against the Houston Texans. Joshua says, in a full PPR for my last flex spot, are we going to go Reed, Bateman, or Elijah Moore? We're going to go ahead. We will be taking... Depends on the health of Odell. If Odell actually is going to be banged up a bit here, I think maybe we go Bateman. I'm going to ask the live chat this. I've said this a couple times now, but I am very much worried that people starting Jaden Reed are going to have the same fate as the people who started Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney. Like, everybody in the chat, please let me know, who would you start? Reed, Bateman, or Elijah Moore? Please let me know in the chat and let Joshua know. Reed, Moore, Bateman, Moore. It's a very tough spot. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Cove Nation. Thank you, my friend. 12-team full PPR league, pick 4. We have Herbert at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Chase Ridley, Etienne, Hall, Dobbins, Javonte, Evans, Addison, Kincaid, Kmet. Should we drop Kmet for Juwan? No, I'm going to keep Cole Kmet over Juwan Johnson. Is it a team with a lot of depth that I think we can actually afford to, after week 1, see if we can go ahead and package together, say, J.K. Dobbins and Evans to get an elite level RB in return, just given the depth that we have at running back and wide receiver, so we can go through and get that guy in for the flex. But I am going to wait until after week 1 because I do think that Dobbins crushes against the Texans this week. Trustlog says, would you trade Higgins and Hall for A.J. Brown? Super dependent on your format. Super dependent, my man. In a lot of spots, no. If it's like an 8-team league, 1 flex, 10-team league, 1 flex, possibly. Ty says, thanks for answering all of our questions. No, thank you so much for everybody coming and hanging out with me every single day. I mean, it is still nuts that y'all decide to come and spend every single day with me and have for like 100 days plus in a row. So I want to reiterate, yeah, we are going through, and Trust says, keep the package in that format, my man. But let me know if there's anything else I can do for y'all. Like I said, I ordered hundreds of hats. We have like 100 shirts giveaway as well. We're to be giving all those away for people who supported the channel. I'm going to stream every single day until 2024. A video will be out every single day as well for y'all. Most likely 2 videos every single day. But just please let me know if there's any way that I can improve. Please let me know if there's any way, anything that I can do for you, ladies and gentlemen. And also, of course, if y'all want to have one of these hats, get one of the shirts, make sure you go fill out the Google form in the Discord. And yeah, man, make sure that you fill that out so I can get you hooked up with everything. And side note, of course, if you want to get one of those, not too late. Still, sign up to Underdog Fantasy, promo code FLOCK. They'll match first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 rankings. Get a free trial at theflockfantasy.com. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you will get an exclusive Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets on Monday night. You will get an additional mystery special pick'em on top of it. I've never seen Underdog have 2 in the same week, so please make sure you're taking advantage. And let's go ahead and let's find our next question. This one coming out from Jay Bonaluz, who says, 12-team league where we have Dak, Chubb, Hall, Chase, Hopkins, Higbee, Lazard. And then on the bench, we have Judy, Rodgers, Russ. We can't roster 3 quarterbacks here, my man. I'm sorry, you got to let go of Mr. Unlimited. We have, especially if Cup's on the IR. If Cup's on the IR and we have like Allen Lazard in our flex right now, we're in such a tough spot that you can't really afford to go through and roster 3 QBs on this team. Drop Mr. Unlimited. Go pick up another wide receiver or running back off the waiver wire. And another side note, we want to be going ahead. We want to be playing Jerry Jeudy over Allen Lazard in the flex. Ignat says, double flex 10-team league. We have Tua, Chase, Olave, Evans, Aaron Jones, Madison, Hall, and Njoku. And then on the bench, we have Kupp, JT, Geno, Zeke, and Lazard. What do you think? Any moves? Late game is stacked. Yeah, late game is going to be nuts. And I'm okay with this because it's a 10-team league where we look like we have enough depth. If it was a 12-team format, it's almost impossible for you to get away with having both Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp on your roster. 10-team league, I think we're going to be able to skirt by. And really the name of the game is just stay alive until we get these players back. Robert says, should we trade Dak for Cousins? We have Justin Jefferson. I still probably prefer Dak. Mark says, need trade up. We have Russ, CMC, Mixon, DJ Moore, McLaurin, Najee, and Judy. Feels like I'm running back heavy in a double flex 14-team format. It does not matter. If you are in a double flex league, the only way we are going, a 14-team league, the only way that we are going through and trading away one of these RBs is if someone dramatically overpays. You have all the leverage in the world. If we can go to the Jonathan Taylor team, if we can go to the team that drafted Alvin Kamara, and we can say, hey man, I'll give you Najee Harris, give me Garrett Wilson. I'll give you Najee Harris, give me Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'll give you Najee Harris, I'll give you Joe Mixon. Yeah, give me back Devontae Adams. If you could make a move like that, you do, but you have all the power here in a 14-team league. 14-team format, it's going to be very hard for people to find running back. The Squint says, 12-team PPR, we traded Debo Dobbins for Olave Gibbs. I'd rather have Gibbs over Dobbins in a full PPR league. I'd rather have Olave over Debo. Phenomenal. We now have Lamar, Bijan, Chubb, Olave, London. This is a great team. Next move, sit on your hands. Let's let a couple of these rookies break out. If you really wanted to see if we can pack together like Dotson and Kittle to go get Andrews, we can do it in a 1-flex league, just not in a 2-flex league. Isaac says Waddle or Godwin. Definitely going to go Waddle, and we're going to go Watson over Geno, even if Geno looks a little more appealing now that you have JSN back in. Shamil says 10-team PPR format. In my flex, we're going to start Dobbins or Pittman. You have to go Dobbins this week. Great matchup. J Funk says give Gibbs a chance. Ridley skunked in his rookie debut and turned around, scored 3 touchdowns his third game, and ended up with 10 to finish the rookie season. Thank you, Brendo. Thank you, my man. And yeah, I'm telling you right now, Jahmyr Gibbs will be in our buy low running back video this week. Do not be surprised to see that. I think it'll be an easy spot as well. Fader says, thank you, brother. First time playing Dynasty. One more for you. Jamal or Javonte, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, and then the bench, Judy and Gallup. Okay, so we got, if we're choosing for not Dynasty, but just for this week, we're going to go Jamal over Javonte. We're going to go Gabe Davis over Brandon Cooks. And we're going to be going Judy over Michael Gallup. But I think that should be it for this live stream. Going to be a quick one. We've streamed for about 2.5 hours tonight. I'll be live tomorrow, of course, as always. So if you have not done so already, please make sure you go down there, drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, it's not too late. Find the link in the live chat, find in the description, find in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $100. Plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And make sure you do it ASAP so you get the Josh Allen special pick'em, more than less than half a passing yard against the Jets. An additional mystery special pick'em if you are due to Underdog. And if you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, go to the Discord. Make sure you are taking advantage of the giveaway that we have with the Flock hats/shirts. But I think that's all I have. Kobe, we're going to go ahead. We're going to be playing Mike Williams. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day, and really hope I get to see you out in the live stream tomorrow night.